Well, good evening, lovely people. It's me, Ryan Burns. I am having a lovely evening, and I hope you are too. Let's see. Steve Hart is already in the chat. Steve Hart is one of our. I think you live in Clark County, Washington, maybe. Steve, is that right? Hi, Oracle. Hello. Hey, Nicole. Hello to BBG in Cornwall. Hit me up sometime. Let's see. Who else? Sonic. Black Wingy. Black Wingy. Cool name. Landy's in the chat. Oh gosh, everybody's in the chat. Ed, welcome to the Eric Eulis post game show. Post game show? No, he was my opener. Eric was my opener. No, he's the opening act. The tables have turned. Knowles fan. Tables have turned. Okay, Mr. Ryan of Burns. Tina Mucklow. I know you can hardly contain yourself, Tina. Be cool if you were the real Tina, though. That'd be nice. Hello, Dana. Hello, everybody. Hi, Bill. All right. So I did my video, a couple videos on Jim Roman is what they called him, James Roman, suspect who. That's a really funny thing. If you really dig into their investigation of Roman, was so weird. Like, they could not find a photograph of him. There's all these communications, but they were like, what does this guy look like? They never even got a description of him, like of what his size was. Cause there's all these memos back and forth saying, oh, how big is this guy? What's his size? We can't get any descriptive information about him. We can't find any photographs of him. And all it takes is his ex-wife saying, that he was with me on the day before Thanksgiving 11 years ago, and he looks nothing like the sketch. Well, okay. But I mean, it just seems like a pilot with dynamite and forging equipment in his house and blasting caps is going to raise a little more attention than they gave Roman. But who knows? Maybe so. I mean, I don't know. Is he too handsome of a guy? I mean, is Roman too? Is he not ugly? I don't know. He looks kind of ugly to me. I mean, I'm not. I'm a straight man, I suppose. I mean, I know what really handsome is. Like, I know what Brad Pitt is handsome, but I don't know what like average man or below average. I mean, that's where you lose me. Like, I know who the really hot guys are, but I don't know. Like, is Roman? I mean, this guy, he kind of looks funky to me. But in the video, he doesn't look okay. So all the girls are saying he's too good looking. Okay, see, in these pictures he doesn't look that handsome, but in the video, I guess he looked a lot better in the video than he does in the photographs. I mean, he was kind of handsome in the video, maybe it's just what he was doing. I mean, sitting in a jet fighter, you're gonna look cool, sitting in a jet fighter. Regardless, you're gonna be looking all right, but too handsome. He's too breast removable for me. Packer, it's a laugh a minute with Packer. He says, "Thanks for keeping us abreast of Dr. Roman." Okay. Yes. There's Roman in his cockpit. Yeah, those ears. He does have big ears. I mean, the ears. No, Jay. Well, Jay says in 71, did they talk about suspects in the paper? No, the FBI didn't. There were people who went to the paper who had been interviewed for being Cooper or interviewed by the FBI who wanted to talk about it, being interviewed for it. But no, his lip doesn't look how I'd expect. I'd say his lip is like, I'd say Roman's lip is his best attribute by far. I mean, look at that graphic that I put up there in one of my videos. You look at the Cooper lips and then look at Roman's lip. I mean, it's really interesting. I mean, we've got Tina Mucklow 2 years after the hijacking seeing a picture of a suspect and saying, oh, Cooper's lip looked like that. I mean, so 2 years after an event, she still remembers Cooper's lip being unique. So, I mean, how unique would a lower lip have to be to do that? How unique would your lower lip have to be to to raise memories years later. I don't know, but his ears, it doesn't look pouty to me, just normal. Queen, no way. Normal. That's a normal lip. Look at Roman's lip on the bottom there. It's all misshapen and stuff. It's all misshapen and puffed out. That is not a normal lip. No way. No way. No. No, but his ears though, yeah, that's a problem. So, but again, it could be, I don't know. So I take the liberty to have a little fun with Roman. I added some hair to him and I put some sunglasses on him so we can see kind of what he might have looked like. Somebody said he looks like Steve Martin, but yeah, I mean, I guess that's what he might have looked like if, in a weird, funny way, if you added some, if he grew his hair out after the Air Force and he put some sunglasses on, I don't know, maybe not homely enough. But those ears are big. You know, and I have to tell you, I didn't get it into the video. It's funny when you make videos like that. That's a good point there. DB Cooper himself says, if Dwayne's ears remove him, then it has to do the same here. I mean, Dwayne's ears are really bad though, right? Dwayne's ears are about as, I mean, Dwayne is Yoda, right? I wouldn't say Roman is Yoda. Like, I mean, look at that. Dwayne is Yoda. Packer again. Roman was certainly worth investigating. One might say a cut above the rest. For those who don't know what he's referencing, Dr. James Roman was performing a kidney operation on a woman and cut off her breast somehow. No idea. Yeah, Mystery Bag's right. Regardless of appearance, Roman appears to have no motive for Norjack. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that, as I've said, I mean, and I stick with it, this is a bank robbery in the sky. So if your suspect is not, if you don't think your suspect could rob a bank or would need to rob a bank or would have the idea to rob a bank, then he's probably not Cooper. This was a bank robbery. So why would Roman do something like that? I just don't know. Yeah. I mean, that motive definitely hurts him. Jay Coleman says, was it Dwayne who was a D-Day vet? No, that's him. Dwayne was in the 4th Infantry Division, which I think they were on Utah Beach. I might be wrong about that. But yeah, Dwayne is a D-Day veteran, I would say. As far as military records go, obviously we've got our most super soldiers obviously are going to be Braden. I mean, Braden was low crawling through the snow to go stab Germans in foxholes when he's 16 years old. Hard to get better than that. Packer again, that kidney surgery is utterly insane. Did Dwayne rob any banks? No, but he robbed Kool-Aid packets from Piggly Wiggly, apparently. No, but I'm just saying, if you don't think your guy would have a reason to rob a bank, then why do the heist, you know? And I mean, I don't know what put Dwayne in prison. I have to look at, I don't know if Dwayne's rap sheet is on his, I don't know if Dwayne's rap sheet, actually, I don't think Dwayne's rap sheet is part of his FBI file. I'd have to look at that and see if it is, because I don't think it is. Normally they do have their rap sheets, but I'm scrolling through right now looking for his rap sheet, and I don't see it. Okay, yeah. See, I don't know actually what Dwayne was imprisoned for so many times. Dwayne was a bad crook. But I mean, obviously it put him in jail enough. If Cooper was arrested, how long would he get in jail? Now? Do you mean now, Jay, or you mean back then? I mean, back then he would have been given probably life in prison like most of the other skyjackers were. But I don't know. I mean, now I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think he would serve a day now. In 71, yeah. In 71, he probably would have been. I mean, it was a death penalty case. He probably would have been given life, right? If we look at our other skyjackers, I may have this up. Most of them, I think, most of the copycats got significant sentences. Let me see if this is the copycat collage I made. If this is the right one. Yeah, there we go. So, yeah, we can see of the copycats who actually jumped. LaPointe got 40 years. McCoy got 45. Hahnemann got life. Hetty got life. McNally got life. A couple of these guys got killed. Others got 50 years plus 60 years. The lowest sentence is probably the worst of all. The guys on the bottom right who hijacked the Birmingham, the Southern Airways plane and threatened to crash it into Oak Ridge. They got 20 years in a Cuban prison, which obviously is worse than any other sentence on here, I would think, other than being killed by the FBI in the middle of a heist might actually be better than that too. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think we found out that Everett Holt was still alive. Only Everett, Billy Hurst, Mac, and Rob are still alive. Hetty, they're the only ones who are still living, who we can still talk to about this stuff. Sadly. When Dina says, all my guys have a reason to rob a bank. Oh, all of her guys, all of her boyfriends, she's saying. That's a good line there. Hi, Terry. So would 900, Jay says, so would 900 people say they did it? 900 people didn't say they did it. In fact, I honestly don't know how many people, Jay, nobody confessed to the crime to law enforcement unless they were mentally ill. That's a bit of an exaggeration to say all these deathbed confessions. In fact, there's only 2 deathbed confessions in the FBI files. That's a guy named Arthur Durham, and then Dwayne said that. I don't know. I mean, Joe was a real believer, but Joe was also crazy, so I don't know. Yes. This mystery bag, you nailed it. And I made 2 damn videos on Roman, and both times I intended to talk about this, and both times I forgot. I was going to say that one of my biggest problems about Roman was that the guy had been living in Vancouver or the area since 68, and nobody in their right mind, I mean, if you're going to hijack a plane, if you're going to be smart about it, is going to hijack in their own home airport, essentially. So that was almost, I mean, it's just, you're running way too much risk of somebody. I mean, think about how often when you go to the airport and you see somebody you know in the airport. Hey, Joe, how you doing? Or you see an acquaintance from a long time ago and you don't want to talk to them, but you see that they're there, right? Things like that. It would be too easy to do that, too risky to run into someone. So I just don't think that that's a major strike against Roman is if he's going to do this, you're going to do this somewhere where you're not known. And if you're a doctor, I mean, a surgeon at least, then people are going to know who you are, I would think. But I don't know. But then again, the guy was clearly a little off. But yeah, I mean, he's almost certainly not Cooper, but he's plausible. That's the thing about Roman is he is I could see him pulling it off is what I'm trying to say. He had enough knowledge and enough madness to pull it off. So he's plausible. Like a lot of suspects, I don't think are devious enough, you know? Yes, Sonic says it reminds me of the story about Mac being recognized. Absolutely. Mac's first attempt to hijack a plane, he was standing in line to buy his American Airlines ticket in St. Louis. And he hears Mac, and he thinks it's the cops. Like, oh crap, how did I get caught already? But it was a guy he served in the Navy with. And so he had to leave. You know, he called it off. But yeah, that's why it's just, I can't imagine somebody from living in Portland at the time. I mean, I don't discount anybody ever. But that just doesn't make much sense to me to hijack. In fact, Heinemann's the only one who hijacked in his home airport. He hijacked in Allentown, and he was from the suburbs out there. I think he was maybe from 10 minutes away from his airport. I mean, it wasn't like his city, but it was the closest airport. I think it's the ABC airport, maybe Allentown, something. I don't know. But Roman was a full-blown military officer. They have a few bucks. Yeah. Hetty, yes, Jude, but Hetty was never seen in the airport, right? Hetty got out of a cab and put on a hood and jumped a gate and ran onto a plane that was deboarding. So, as I always say, if you know the Leroy Jenkins meme, that's Hetty. Leroy Jenkins. He Leroy Jenkins did. Rob Hetty did. Hey, Jude, hijacker or skyjacker? Speaking of terms, you know what? It's a stupid nitpick, but I don't like when people say, like I saw a thing where it's talking about some people being shot at a house party or something. And it said, like, no, it was a school shooting like a couple of days ago. And it said 4 students injured in shooting. I mean, grammatically, isn't it wounded? Aren't you? You're not in. I mean, I guess you're injured, but it reminds me of in Band of Brothers. There's a scene where one of the new kids is with the unit, and he's like, "Oh, any of you guys been injured?" And the guy says, "It's called wounded. Injured's when you fall out of a tree or something." But yeah, I mean, it seems like if you're the victim of an intentional violent act, you are wounded. You're not injured. Like injured is if you're in a stampede or something, right? Wounded is the correct, I guess, nomenclature for that, I suppose. Yes, Hetty fired a shot inside the aircraft. Yes, he did. Do we know when CooperCon info is dropping? Soon, Queen, soon. The website will be up and running full-time soon. Oh, God. Dr. 420. Nice name, Doctor. Do you have a theory on Cooper's plan to escape once he landed on the ground? He was winging it. He was winging it for sure. I mean, I just think that he had to have either an accomplice who was waiting by a phone somewhere. Like, that's not really the only way. Like, if you really, really, really get into like a meditative state and really pretend to be DB Cooper and say, okay, I am going to do this. How would I do it? That's kind of what you've got. You've got 2 things, really, or at least I would say. If you have an accomplice, you say, look, I don't really know where I'm going to be jumping somewhere. I mean, consider a place that you know, okay, whatever county you're from. Think about whatever county you grew up in. Okay, I grew up in Madison County, Mississippi, okay, whatever county you grew up in. Okay, you may move away, but you know the place, right? So you would generally know where you are in your home county, at least directionally. Okay, I'm in the north part of my county. If I go this way, whatever. So I feel like Cooper would have jumped close enough to Cowlitz or Clark County. He would have known that. I think if he knew at least they were going toward Portland, he would have, and he could have seen Portland coming in the distance. He would have known, okay, this is Cowlitz, Clark County. I-5 is down there, whatever, and you get to a phone. Yes, Mystery Bag. The plan was to land, turn west, and walk until you find I-5. Pretty much. That might be that simple. And then you can skulk in the woods, until you get to a phone or something, right? And then you call your accomplice. You tell your accomplice who drops you off at the airport, go sit by the phone. I don't know when I'm going to be jumping, whatever. And I'll call you. And I'll let you know where I am and you come get me. Or if you don't have an accomplice, which I don't think Cooper did, then you just park your car somewhere in Vancouver or Portland, or probably Vancouver. That way you don't have to cross up the river. And then you take a cab or a bus or whatever it is. You walk to the airport, and then you just wing it. I mean, you jump out and you wing it. I mean, that's kind of really the only way you could do it, because Cooper just didn't have any knowledge of where he was going to be landing specifically. No way. Like, not even close. So Dan Grider has really dropped off the radar now about Cooper content. Well, I don't know. He's got some new, he snookered some new TV show anchor from North Carolina into it. And I've messaged that guy saying, hey, if I can get you on with the real FBI guys like Larry Carr, please stop repeating this man's bullshit. Okay. Hi, Ryan. Lyle Cameron seems like a good potential suspect. You discounted him because his friend gave him an alibi. Was this tested? Well, Lyle doesn't really look like Cooper. You know, he's not a good, I don't think he's a good physical match for Cooper. I think he's maybe a little short, maybe. And he's just kind of, he's not like dark looking, I don't think. He's not a good Cooper suspect, I don't think. Think he was a smoker or anything like that. And he was also an FBI informant. I mean, I don't think Lyle. And again, his whole the Lake Elsinore ghost story. I mean, why would he invite the FBI to snoop around his own skyport drop zone, right? Cooper chose the speed. No, Robert, he didn't actually. Cooper did not give them a speed to follow. That's a problem, isn't it? That's a big problem. Nope. Cooper did not specify a speed. I don't know why that comes up a lot. That comes up so much in documentaries. They get that wrong. They say, oh, he said fly at 200 miles an hour or whatever. Doctor says, is there a reason you're invested in the Cooper case specifically and not something else like Jack the Ripper? Yes, actually. I was a assistant district attorney. Then briefly, I was a district attorney. And I am a criminal defense attorney. And I have prosecuted murders and kidnappings and hideous things and defended some hideous things too. So I've seen a lot of and dealt with a lot of gore and ugliness, and it affects you, and I don't like that. So I avoid bloodshed. So this is a mystery that, yeah, Jack the Ripper is a sick puppy. Yeah, I mean, Zodiac. I don't want to read about a girl being hogtied and stabbed in the back at a lake. You know, that's not cool to me. That doesn't appeal to me, or to read about these destitute prostitutes being literally disemboweled by a guy. That just doesn't, that does not appeal to me. But Cooper does appeal to me because, again, we like Cooper. Or not like Cooper. Some people like Cooper, but we like, I mean, it's a mystery where you don't feel like you need to take a shower after you go through it, right? I mean, no one died indirectly, but like I said, the Cooper was a jerk, but no one died directly in the incident, and it's not particularly gruesome or anything like that. I mean, you've got the main victim, the main hostage, saying he was rather nice. So there's that. I don't think anybody would have said that Jack the Ripper was very nice. Okay. Apparently Gossett worked for the FBI at one point, people claim. Gossett says a lot of things. Wolfie, I don't believe much of what Wolfie says. Any DB Cooper convention news, dates? The dates are November, what is it? It's November 14th through 16th, and it's in Vancouver, Washington. So we're getting the lineup. We'll be putting that stuff out within the month for sure. All right. I'd love to see more reactions of your stuff from vlogging through history. I think he'd love your hijacking recreations. Do you talk with him much? Yeah, actually, he's a friend of mine, Chris. He is killing it. Good Lord. I think he's almost to 500,000 subscribers. I remember when he was just a wee babe in the world. No, Chris is a friend. And he's vlogging through history. God almighty. I mean, he is making some money too, for sure. He has quit his job. He is a full-time guy. Yeah, doctor, thank you. Yeah. He needs to react more because I can get more subs. The algorithm doesn't like me because you people aren't liking my videos enough. That's the problem. I don't know how I get 2,000 views and only get 150 likes. So make sure you like every video of mine because it really, really boosts the algorithm. The Roman video did pretty well, the first one. But I think my videos are worth more than 2,000 views, which is what they get. Just saying. Just saying. When there's other DB Cooper videos that get 500,000 views. Just saying. Yeah, no, Chris is a good guy. So Chris, the vlogging through history guy, he used to be a speaker for the, I don't know what the organization was called. One of the Columbine victims, Rachel Scott. Yeah, or maybe it was just like the Rachel Scott Foundation. But he was a speaker. Chris, before he retired to be a full-time gazillionaire YouTuber, was a speaker for he was like the Rachel Scott Foundation's spokesman or whatever. So he went around talking about school shootings and stuff. That was his like job. Was I guess informing people about school shootings or talking about the risks of it or something. I don't know what he's doing. Mary John says, I think at least one of the early FBI teletypes got that wrong and said the hijacker gave instructions for airspeed. So lots of confusion. Yeah, maybe. But I don't know. Yeah, that's a huge misnomer. Thoughts on Cooper stealing a car after the jump? Yes, no, worth the risk. I mean, McNally, again, we don't have a lot of people to talk to about this. And Mac is really the guy. And Mac, his plan was to hotwire a car. He was going to steal a car. And he also had a pistol in case he had to carjack somebody to get away. And again, back in those days, you could probably get away with stuff like that a lot easier now, carjacking somebody, right? Because now the person has a cell phone. If you carjack somebody 5 miles outside of a city, right now they can just call on their phone. But back then, they had to go all the way into the city or wherever, So I think it's amazing, honestly, that people got caught at all back in the old days. Have you ever thought about that? Like, how did anybody ever get caught? Was back in the day. I mean, I can tell you as having been a prosecutor, a lot of crimes go unsolved today. And it's a miracle that any crimes got solved back then. But although the main way, though, if you think about it, though, the main way is somebody talks. That's the main way people got caught back in those days. It was by talking. As they ran their mouth to somebody. It's like McCoy did or Mac. Right? People knew. So if you think about that, like the way that the hijackers got caught. So actually, so Hetty, obviously, we know poor Rob, his car, right? Rob's car was parked where it shouldn't have been, and they busted him for it, right? But I always want to say I have a picture of his poor little car sitting there. Do I really not? Bloody hell. I always want to show you guys his little car. Now, it doesn't have the USPA, the Parachute Association, but so Rob is caught that way. Mac had an accomplice Mac talked a lot and also had an accomplice who got scared. McCoy talked too much. LaPointe was caught in the act. He jumped in the day. I mean, and literally the chase plane circled him as he was coming down. It's actually a girl pilot. In fact, Hetty or LaPointe, it was a girl, young female pilot who did it, who got LaPointe. Let me see if I can pull that up. Yeah, there we go. Let me do this for you guys. I'll clip this. Save this JPEG. And there's Hetty's. There's Rob's little car. Poor Rob's car. He comes out of the woods and his car is, he had parked his car with the U.S. Parachute Association sticker on it. They were waiting for him. He might have got away if not. I mean, he pulled off a pretty decent skyjacking, I would say. Hetty did. All right, here's the girl. Let's see. I'm gonna pull both of these up. Yeah, it says young woman in small plane helped trail skyjack suspect. So yeah, she was 20. Wait, no. How old was this girl? Does it have her age? It says, for those listening, it says a young woman in her own single engine plane took over the duties Thursday of 2 supersonic fighter bombers assigned to trail a hijacker after he parachuted from an airliner over Colorado. Patricia Jones, a veteran flight attendant with the FAA, watched the hijacker and his parachute from the air for 45 minutes until authorities moved in and captured the man. Said Lou Lombard, said Miss Jones owns a Cessna 182 and volunteered her aircraft after the 2 F-11 fighter jets watched the parachute come down. She flew out to the air. She flew over the area and took over the F-11's duties. Cool. And there's Rob's car. A Triumph. You guys are going to have to, some of the people older than me have to tell me what kind of car that is. A Triumph. What is a Triumph? Aaron says, I don't understand why people line up for Chick-fil-A. Well, because it's good. Yeah, that's not a controversial opinion there, Aaron, that Guinness is terrible. It is motor oil. No one would do that. No one would do that. Most American fast food is Triumph for English cars. I wonder how Rob got a Triumph then. Interesting. But Guinness is like drinking motor oil. I can't handle it. Everybody's saying British car. Okay. Well, that must be why I don't know it. But there's that's a little car. My God. That's one of those cars that, like, when they wreck on the Autobahn in Germany, they just get like a broom and just sweep it off the side. Guinness. No, I went to the Guinness factory and I didn't even sample it. I didn't want it because I've had it before. It's goodness. Guinness is not a fan. All right. Erica says, I know you got all the FBI's files. What program did you use? It's laborious, Erica, but I just use Adobe Acrobat Pro. And every time one of these comes out, I'm still, my bad, I have the picture up. I always forget to have that picture up. Erica, every time a file comes out, I download it, and then I download it, and then I just do an OCR scan of it, and then I save it to a big portfolio. So I've got 105 files in this portfolio now, and I can search anything on there. It's, it's fun. But no, I just use Adobe Acrobat Pro, and you have to do it manually. You have to, and reach out to me privately, Erica, if you want to, please. Email me at my Norjack email. It's on my webpage, and I can maybe help you out. Okay. Bush Light, some people are saying, Guinness is like having a pork chop in a glass. I dig it. Doctor says, do you feel like Cooper's identity will be solved eventually? Probably not. I mean, maybe. I mean, it just seems like that really the only way we would have got the guy is through family members coming forward after he died, or who knew, or a friend who knew, or somebody, and time's ticking, right? Time is ticking. Nobody's alive. I mean, all the suspects are dead essentially. So there's nobody to protect anymore. And what's really sad too is you wonder about if Cooper evidence was just thrown in the trash, right? Like that I think about that. I think about when it's sad, but think about when someone dies. Think about when grandpa dies or whatever. Like most family just go through their stuff and just get rid of it. Or when an uncle dies, everybody gets the big trash bags and goes through uncle's house and just everything gets thrown in the trash or sent to Goodwill or something, right? So I think that it's likely if Cooper had kept a keepsake, which I doubt he did, but let's just say maybe Cooper kept his ticket or something like that. Probably ended up in the trash somewhere. It's just like the packing card. I think the second packing card that we think is now from Cooper's chute that he jumped with. That thing would have been found in I think that the museum parachute was first repacked in maybe like 81 or 82, 80, something like that. So whoever repacked that chute would have found 2 packing cards in that parachute and would have known which one was for that parachute pretty quickly. And then this other packing card that doesn't work, he would have told Norman Hayden, hey, there's this other packing card in here. And Hayden probably threw it in the trash himself, forgetting what it was, or threw it in a filing cabinet or something. Hayden's got kids. Though. I might need to reach out to them. Maybe it's in a filing cabinet somewhere. Hayden died a few years ago, but yeah, it's just something like that. Okay, somebody said, okay. Cigarette butts. The cigarette butts are destroyed, Alex. I have a video on that, brother. Check out my video. Did they lose his DNA? They destroyed the cigarettes are destroyed. 100%. In fact, I may be able to show you that. Let me see. There we go. There it is. Yep. Here's the file here where we can see it. If you look down there in the middle there, the end of the first paragraph, it says, unfortunately, it was discovered that this evidence had been destroyed years earlier in Las Vegas. So yes, no cigarette butts to be had, no saliva for Cooper. And the hair slide is also missing. The hair slide has not been anywhere found, hadn't been seen since 1984. Aaron, when was the last day you didn't read something about Cooper? I don't know. I mean, it's hard. I mean, I make videos and I've written the book, and I mean, I kind of been in Cooper mode for a while, and then people email me and stuff. So it's I can't really get away from it. I don't mind. I'm not burned out on it or anything. It's fine. Okay. Have you ever noticed that DB Cooper drops each day on YouTube? So many people talk about it. It's still big. Yeah, of course it's still big. And somehow I only get 2,000 views on my videos, and I'm the best out there in my opinion at this. So by the way, somebody mentioned, I guess it's Pat, about Cooper using the tie to wipe down his prints, perhaps, right? Because all the prints found that from Cooper's chair were partial prints. It's hard to know exactly. The FBI, even they don't know. But there were they said there were 11 prints or 11 impressions lifted, and all were partial. And then there was it's 10 or 11. Again, they fluctuate, but 10 or 11 fingerprints all were lifted from his chair, partial, and an intact palm print from his chair. Okay, so if the fingerprints were partial because Cooper wiped it down with his tie, then that would have also smudged the palm print that was on his chair as well. So that's why I don't think that the tie was used to wipe anything down. I really think Cooper just took his tie off and threw it on the freaking chair and just forgot. He had other things on his mind at the time. I just an oversight. And I'm sure that when he realized it, he was like, oh shit. That's what I'm thinking. Han Solo says, I'm sure you've been asked a million times, but what are the chances he made it? Almost 100%. Almost 100%. Yeah. Almost 100%. What kills him? I mean, that's really what you have to ask is what kills the guy? What I need to pull up the odds here and read to you guys the odds here. All right. Where is that? Was in. Sorry, folks, bear with me. I'm trying to find something. But no, I don't see any. No, Mary, I think all the partials, it just says came from around his area is what it says. So wherever his sitting area was. Okay, let me try to find this. These odds here. Maybe it's under fatalities. Sorry, folks. I'm trying to find this passage here because I want to read to you. Okay, there we go. All right, so this is from my book. I write, but what about Cooper actually losing his life in the jump? Despite the darkness and the less than ideal weather, his odds of perishing were still quite low. According to the USPA's fatality index rate, there were only 3.2 fatalities per 100,000 skydives in 1970, or around 0.0032%. Of course, the average skydive doesn't take place at night amidst light rain showers from the back of a 727. But even if one were to suggest that Cooper's jump was 20 times more dangerous than the average skydive, that still leaves him with a 99.936% chance of survival. So yeah, what kills him? I mean, you have one job, pull your ripcord. So no, I do not think that he died. There had to be his prints on the stair handle. But here's the thing, Terry. It seems that he obfuscated his fingerprints, you see. So back then, when fingerprints were the DNA of the time, right? So criminals did take precautions with fingerprints. They put airplane glue on their fingers or whatever. They did things to make their fingerprints not complete. And the fact that the only partial prints recovered from the plane apparently were from Cooper's seat. So he was doing something with his fingerprints, I think. He was doing something. Okay. 42 Lehman. Is there a reason the palm print hasn't given us anything? Yes, doctor. The reason is palm prints. So no one takes palm prints. So that the military still don't take palm prints when you're going into the military. So there would have been no palm print database to compare it to. And law enforcement did not start taking palm prints until the NYPD and the LAPD started doing it in 2003. So there would have been no database. It wouldn't have mattered. They could have, they did. The fingerprints that they had were run through the NCIC's fingerprint database in the early 80s, in the mid 80s, I think. But, there's no palm prints in there. So, and that was actually the palm print. They're so confident in that palm print that it came from Cooper, I guess, because of where it was located on the chair. Basically, when he stood up, when he pushed off the seat, right? He left it. And they're so confident that that was his palm print that they used it to eliminate suspects. That was their main thing. That's how they got Rackstraw eliminated and everything like that. Is they would say, look, if you're not Cooper, if you want us to leave, I mean, there's all these great 302s, but they're like, I finally said, just give us your palm print and we'll leave you alone. And the suspect says, okay, fine. So that was their main way, is like, okay, look, if you're being belligerent, or you just look, man, if you want us to leave, just give us your palm print. And they say, okay. And so what's funny is Rackstraw didn't want to give him his palm print. And the FBI actually investigated. They contacted the Department of Justice saying, is there a way, because they had Rackstraw in custody at the time, because Rackstraw was on trial for murdering his stepfather, and they wanted his palm prints, and he wouldn't give it to them. And so they asked the Attorney General's office, is there a way we can like hold him down and make him give us his palm print? And before they got an answer, Rackstraw said, sure, why not? So whatever. So that's why there's no prints on the stairs. 42 Lehman says, solving the money at Tina Bar is a far better way to solve the case than the tie, which, yes, he could have picked it up at secondhand store, but yeah, I mean, I think the tie was his. I mean, you know, it had there's indications that the tie pin had been on there for a while. And I mean, you're not going to sell a tie pin. I mean, again, this thing cost $1.50 brand new back then. And I know that's like $5 now or $7. I mean, still, but it was cheap. There was no need to buy it at Goodwill. Right. That just doesn't make much sense to buy it at Goodwill. Okay. And now I don't know how Tina Bar isn't going to help us with anything. That's the problem. I mean, how do you think Tina Bar is going to help us solve the case? Tina Bar literally tells us nothing except that it was Cooper's ransom money. That's really all it says. If he landed in water, he could have drowned. Well, but what water though? That's the thing, Lehman. We know where the plane was, and we know approximately where he jumped, and there's no water there. So, I mean, do I have the flight path map? I mean, there's no water that he, I mean, people like to think he went in the Columbia River, but again, he jumped 10 miles before there, 15 miles. He's not going to land in the river. Yeah, I mean, really the only major body of water, I mean, that map doesn't go as high as I'd like it to, but yeah, I mean, the only body of water is the river there in the middle. I mean, at the very, very bottom, and he's out of the plane well before the river. Mary John says, were those ties still on sale in 71? No, I think they said they discontinued selling those type ties in like 68 or 67. Okay. What is the best way to research the flight path? What websites do we need? Well, there is I need to link it to my page. I'll do that. Aaron, if you're on the Facebook group, somebody maybe can link it. There's a bunch of PhD students from Idaho who put together a flight path map and presented it at CooperCon. It's really accurate. So yeah. Handgun in the mystery bag. Yes, absolutely. Handgun in the mystery bag. Yeah, Aaron, I'll post it later on. But I mean, or somebody might post it. Somebody go post it now. But I mean, there is a flight path map on there. James St. James, cool name. Wouldn't the parachute be found somewhere if he died, though? The parachute is going to last longer than a body. Yep. I mean, look at all this crap he's got. Look behind me. That big old thing, $200,000 of money. Now the reserve chute, he didn't have the reserve chute, but $200,000. Think about this. Really, the best evidence he lived is Tina Bar. $6,000 is found on this beach, miles away, 10, 15 miles away from where the plane ever was when he jumped. So, I mean, to think that the money gets to Tina Bar with a dead Cooper, you have to come up with some scenario where somebody finds his body buries it completely and then hauls the money off. And then they, for some reason, bury the money at Tina Bar. It's just, I would err on the side of Cooper having something more to do with that than somebody finding his body and then doing all this crap. That doesn't make much sense. How close did he land to Portland? Could he see city lights in the distance? Probably. Yes. Okay, so hopefully I'll have him at CooperCon. There's a guy named Robert McClellan who his house is literally the ground zero for where the FBI thought Cooper landed. Like their like map that Northwest Airlines made of the flight path, which was actually coordinate where Cooper landed, where Cooper would have landed. The calculations done for that were actually done by Alice Hancock's husband. Alice Hancock being one of the stewardesses on board. Her husband Jim was a Vietnam pilot and was a flight engineer at the time for Northwest, and was also an avid skydiver. And he is the one who did the calculations for where Cooper would have landed. And he put it right on Robert McClellan's airstrip. Robert McClellan was a young engineer living in La Center, and he had an airstrip in his front yard. He had a hobby of getting clunker planes and fixing them. And he had literally just in his front yard an airstrip. His wife would have to go turn on the headlights of their cars so he could land at night. But anyway, I'm hoping to have them at CooperCon. But they're both still alive, and the FBI were all over their butts. I mean, she was telling me about how they were, taking crowbars and opening up her trunks and things. And she's like, "What are you doing? Just ask me. I'll open it up." She was panicking, called the FBI, called Bob's office in Vancouver going, "Oh my God, the FBI's here." But anyway, Bob was flying. He was flying a plane around that night, the night before the hijacking. He and a buddy were flying their planes around, and a bunch of pearl clutching people about a week after the hijacking were like, "Oh my God, that was the night of the hijacking. There was these planes flying around." It was actually it's been verified by flight logs and things. It was the night before the hijacking. And Bob tells that story. But anyway, he used to fly his plane from La Center, which is north of Portland, into Vancouver for work every day, I believe. And so he would know about things. And so I said, he was doing this back in 71. So I asked him, I said, "Bob, let me give you, a scenario, 10,000 feet. You're at 10,000 feet. You're coming down Victor 23, which is the airway he would have flown all the time, Bob. So you're coming down Victor 23, 10,000 feet, cloud cover at 5,000, 1,500, or 5,000, 2,500, 1,500, basically a triple cloud cover. It's 8:30 at night on November. When would you start to see the lights of Portland in 71? Now, of course, Portland's much bigger now, but in 71, when would you first start seeing the lights? He said about Battleground area, which is roughly where Cooper jumps. So having heard that from him, kind of makes me think that Cooper was looking for the lights of Portland. Because, look, anybody who's flown in the air, like at kind of 10,000-ish feet, I grew up my dad had a Piper Warrior plane. We'd fly around. You can see city lights through thick clouds. It doesn't matter how thick the clouds are. Unless it's a friggin' hurricane or something. But if it's just normal, light rain shower clouds, which is what it was that night, you can see cities and things. They put off enough footprint. And so I do think Cooper may have been looking for the lights of Portland, and that's why he jumped when he jumped. He was looking for that and said, "Okay, I am near civilization enough to where I can hit the ground and get out of here." So that's what I think. But no, he jumps 10, 15 miles north of Portland. Where is the other $194,000 now? I don't know. I don't know. Good question. I don't know what to say about that. Maybe mostly destroyed by they didn't start checking the Treasury did not start cataloging the serial numbers until the early 90s of destroyed currency. But so, yeah, I mean, it could have been spent in New York City or somewhere, right? I mean, nobody was checking for Cooper money in New York City or the Midwest or the South, in Atlanta or Mississippi or where. I mean, or it did certainly not in Colombia or Venezuela or Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, anywhere, South Africa. I mean, wherever Cooper could have gone. And yeah, it's not hard to launder it. I mean, you literally just go to Vegas and throw down some money at a dealer table and they give you some chips and that's it. And then you go to take those chips and cash out, you know, with fresh money. It's not difficult. Yeah, but layman, that's the problem. And I agree. Yes, the money at Teen and Bar is hard evidence, but we can't, I mean, there's no way to figure that out. I mean, we've tried. We can't even come up with a theory that even makes sense to even begin with. That's the problem with Teen and Bar is we can't even come up with a theory that makes any sense at all that connects to all the dots, right? I mean, remember, the money was waterlogged when it was found, okay? It had been wet at some point. And when it got wet, it was in the spring. It got wet in the spring. So, because it had springtime diatoms on it. And so it didn't get in the water in the wintertime when Cooper jumped. Okay. It also doesn't have silt on it. So it didn't get there by a flood. It didn't get pushed there by a flood. Also, money doesn't float. A money bundle will sink within 5 minutes. If you throw $6,000 rubber banded together in a lake or a river, it will sink. Period. It doesn't float. I guess it could bounce along the bottom current maybe, but how does it get back up? And it wasn't put there by a dredge. Now, there was dredging in the area, but the dredging, the types of dredge they used were the types, they weren't the as they call them, the clam things that just grab the dirt and pull it up and put it on the shore. It went through like a suction pipe that had blades in it that cut things up. So, I mean, there's no chance it would have been complete when it was found like it was if it had gone through its dredge pipe. So, we don't know. I mean, yeah, I mean, you could, I wish we could solve Teen and Bar, but we just can't. I mean, layman's possible. Hey, look, I mean, that's the thing about it is, and I told Tom this, that I am looking to buy eventually a Cooper 20. And I know that, so all of Tom K's testing has been done on one bill. That's Mark Meltzer's bill that he let Tom tomahawk a piece of it off, right? And I told Tom that when I buy a Cooper 20 from Brian, hopefully soon, I will absolutely sacrifice a chunk of it to test. I mean, we need a control, right? And that's the thing with science, right? Is you need a control, and we don't have a control. Because we're only testing one Cooper 20. Maybe that 20 is special. Wait a second. Nikki says he got others from Brian. You sure about that, Nikki? I mean, in the text Tom, I feel like he only tested one. Brian gave him a bill and a fragment. Okay. Well, I'm wrong on that. Good to know. Good to know that, actually. That way I don't have to sacrifice my 20 that I get. Somebody said, Tejas says Cooper probably served in World War II, probably. Being a commando, I don't know about that. And he knew about 727 from somebody else. I mean, yeah, that's possible. No, he's saying what he was saying is like, this is the sequence of events. He was saying Cooper was probably a commando in World War II. And then later on in the 60s, learned about the 727 stuff. Okay. Yeah. Nikki says, watch his presentation from CooperCon 2 years ago. Well, I was there. How did I miss it? Where have I been? Yeah, Queen, I don't know. Queen says, a scientist friend of mine says the money had to have been possibly buried, then moved into the water and free floated. Well, it can't do that. That's the problem. It can't float. But then was suddenly exposed to high pressure and then finally buried. Again, it doesn't float. They will not float. We have experimented on that with actual packets of money. They sink. Chris Cunningham put $300 $1 bills in his tub, rubber banded with paper bands and rubber bands, and they get waterlogged and they sink. So it's not a workable thing. Yeah, and I mean, I agree, Mary. There were 300 bills at Tina Bar, and only a small portion were tested. It may not be representative. I agree. It's like the tie, like I know that, Tom had one control tie that he got from a Boeing engineer, but like, I don't know. It just seems like you might need more ties to test than just two. Have one as a control. I don't know. It's just, I mean, I'd go. Who knows? I mean, if I was Tom and if I had an electron microscope behind me instead of a Cooper doll, I would go buy a bunch of ties from wherever. I would go to estate sales and just get ties, random ties, and just see what's on these ties. I'd spend a lot of time on that, actually. Trying to figure out, I mean, if this is how unusual this is. I mean, it's unusual, that stuff on the tie, but just how unusual. Flyjack sent him the same model tie. He checked it. Well, that's fine, but again, that's one control. I'd like more. I mean, good. I could send Tom mine, I guess. But okay. You're saying not floating at the surface. You're saying like bouncing along the bottom of the river? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. If it's in a plastic bag, it'll float. Sure. Okay. Maybe Cooper hid the money while fleeing authorities for another crime he committed. Yeah, that's the thing. Cooper may have buried it and been killed and never got back to it, right? A pirate's treasure. Cooper was a rough guy, apparently. At least I think he was. Not Vincent Peterson. My God, can you guys believe Vincent Peterson? Bless his heart. And I mean that in the good way. Southerners don't always mean that in a good way, of course. Bless your heart can mean so many different things. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. Bless Vincent Peterson's dead heart. For him to be brought up on a video that has 1 million views as a Cooper suspect, good God. Like, I can deal with Rackstraw and McCoy because, okay, whatever. But poor Vincent Peterson with his Jay Leno chin and blue eyes, bright blue eyes. Poor Vince. It just bugs me. Okay, good question here. Okay, so 42 Lehman says, I was wondering, since the tie was mailed around and stored in various places, if the particles on it are just transferred from all the places it was post-hijacking. No. And I'll tell you why. Let me do this. To step away for a second. So here's why, Lehman. Okay, so the tie particles, when they've been looked at by Tom Kay, when they've been studied, there is a higher concentration of them on the knot. Okay, like there's a major concentration of them. Like you can almost see fingerprints in a way. You can almost see finger marks where the person who owned the tie was touching it. And a greater majority of the particles are on the place where you would touch it. So whoever Cooper was, or whoever owned the tie, touched chemicals with their hands, their bare hands, and would touch it. Because think about, like, if you put a clip-on tie on, like I'll do that right now. You put a clip-on tie on, you open it up, and you just do it like this, right? You touch it, right? So he was touching the knot. Whoever owned the tie was. So there's a huge majority of the particles are on the tie, a knot, which is indicative that he touched it a lot. Whoever owned it, right? So it is not. I used to wonder that too. Is this post hijacking contamination? But once we saw that that basically you could see a higher concentration of particles where his fingers would have touched. There are dirty finger marks on the tie. So there's that. Mary Johns, zing, zing, zing. She goes, dirty finger marks on the tie. So Himmelsbach was right. Cooper was a dirty crook. Okay, so Mystery Bag says, I've always found it difficult to believe that Cooper would have buried any of the money after he had taken such a risk to get it, regardless of the capture risk. Well, Mac requested a shovel, an entrenching tool to be exact, but Mac, one of his demands was a collapsible shovel. And actually, that's what flipped him over when he hit the ground and hit his back. Was the shovel was in? He forgot that the shovel was in his back loop there. But no, Mac was going to bury the money somewhere and then go home and like let things cool down and then come back and get it. So that was his plan. So maybe, I mean, but again, burying it. The problem is burying it on a beach next to a half-mile wide river on private property. No. That's dumb. That's dumb. Okay. Did the clip-on tie from Penny's include a tie clip? If not, then this would lead me to believe that the tie and the tie clip was owned by Cooper and not a late purchase as a costume. 100%. Yeah, the tie clip. So the tie clip comes from a place called Stacy's. Well, not Stacy's. It was actually I feel like it was a company that made these out of Utah, and they like mass sold them to people who then flipped them for cheap things. The main people were Stacy's. So if you go on eBay, you can get these. You can get the whole set. If you just type in Stacy's tie clip, you can get it's usually like $20 or $30. You can get one of these. So they were ubiquitous. These weren't like crazy unique. It still makes you wonder why they didn't advertise the FBI this tie. I mean, look, it is distinctive enough as evidence to say, look, there is this. And I mean, no one saw the tie. No one even knew the tie. Well, I was gonna say no one knew the tie existed, but no one had seen the tie in the public until Larry Carr in 2007, 2008. The tie was mentioned first in the Real McCoy book. One of the few things that they got accurate, I guess. But yeah, so there's the tie. Burying money unwrapped makes no sense, right? Yeah, I agree. You bury it wrapped up. Yeah, you put it something. I mean, exactly. I mean, you bury it in the bag. At the very least, you bury it in the bag. Okay. Yes, Tina Bar makes less sense the more I think about it. Yeah, it does. It is a albatross on this case. It's Cooper himself is a problem. I'm planning on making a video at some point about Cooper's bipolarism. Like he is, I don't mean that like medically. I mean like he is so back and forth. Like you can literally read the same evidence. This is the problem with Cooper is you can read the same piece of information on him and come at it from two different angles and both are true. You can read the same piece of evidence and say, oh, well, that means he knew this, or you can read the same thing and say, well, that means he didn't know this. Like, you know, the parachutes, it's like he knew parachutes, but didn't know parachutes. And it's just, he knows things about the airplane, but then totally botches the fuel consumption or didn't think about it. His hijacking seems so well organized at the beginning, and then it seems like a real botched job there at the end. He is like, it's a teeter-totter, as Nikki says there. Yeah, he is just bizarre. You literally cannot. Every profile you come up with him, here's a problem. It's like you can say, okay, he knows the 727 so well, but yet you can say, oh, well, you know, like Kenny Christensen. You say, oh, well, Kenny Christensen, DB Cooper, he knew the 727. He's a flight attendant. Well, then how does Kenny not know how to open the back door? That's his job. And again, it's a freaking lever. Look at that thing. it's like a gear shift on a car. I mean, it's not difficult, and there was literally there was instructions, I believe, above it of how to do it. So, I mean, how does Cooper know this? How does Cooper claim to know where the oxygen bottles are, but doesn't know how to lower the stairs? Is he lying about that? Just so much goes around him. Yeah, assuming he'd get D rings. Yeah, that's an assumption. I mean, I understand the assumption though. I mean, you say I want front shoots and back shoots. Well, front shoots only connected to the back shoot one way back then. It's like I said, I've used the analogy before. If you went to a rental car place, if you were going to if you told them, you said, hey, I need a truck and a trailer. Okay. And you arrive there at the rental place and there's a trailer and a truck and there's no trailer hitch on the truck. You'd be like, what? Why would you give me a trailer? Well, why would you give me a truck that does not have a trailer hitch when you give me a trailer at the same time? Like that seems obvious. And so I think that's why Cooper was like, wait, he looks at Tina, Tina has no idea what D rings are, but he's like, where are the D rings? Like, well, why'd they give me this shit? But why didn't, I mean, I guess I'm gonna say, why didn't he say, hey, get me a pack that has D rings on it? But I mean, he was trying to get out of there, I guess. Yeah, and why not bring his own knapsack if you plan to walk out? Seems like an important item to bring. Well, he asked for one, and they didn't give it to him. And that's another thing, mystery bag. He could have easily just said, "Hey, there's 1,000 people in that friggin' airport right there. Go get a backpack off some dopey's kid and dump his pre-algebra book out of it, and bring it to me." I mean, he had them go get crew meals and things later on. So, good question there, Queen. Yeah, I agree, Mr. Bag. Why not just bring one? Yeah, McCoy brought one. McCoy brought his own little bag. Rob Hetty wore a fishing vest, which is what he stuffs money in. Okay, Queen says, do you think he was calm because he was taking Benzedrine? Well, I would be calm if I took Benzedrine. Most of you out there would not be because you don't have ADHD. So possibly if Cooper suffered from ADHD, then yes, uppers mellow you. So it works backwards, right? So I can chug Adderall and fall asleep, right? Most of you take Adderall, you're going to be bouncing off the walls like you're on a Coke bender with Stevie Ray Vaughan, right? So, no. But yeah, Cooper could have, maybe that's why he was calm, or maybe he just, I'll say this, the older hijackers were more calm. Look at Heinemann, who was a little nuts, but didn't have any outbursts, wasn't too rattled. Melvin Fisher wasn't too rattled by anything. I feel like that indicates an older hijacker, right? I mean, a 45, the older I get, I'm the same way. I mean, I'm over 40 now, nearing my mid 40s, and my give a damn button is steadily increasing. I am more effective at pushing it. If I'm 25 years old, my give a damn button is small. So I think that his calmness is maybe more so indicative of him being older, and just knowing that, and maybe he didn't care. Maybe this is a suicide mission. Maybe he was dying. You think about people who have terminal illnesses, or who have decided to take themselves out of existence, and have actually made that decision. They are calm, actually. In fact, that's one bad sign if someone is has ideations like that. If they are very calm, bad sign that the end might be near for them. And for illnesses too, it's the same way. There's a serenity, I guess. So maybe he was dying and didn't care. Maybe he just didn't care one way or the other. Maybe he was enjoying it. So yes, I agree. I would love Mary John to be on my podcast. She needs to be on Darren's podcast. I don't know. Maybe she's got stage fright. I believe Darren's reached out to you, Mary Johns. Get on there. How much of the beach did the Fazio brothers own? Where's the property line? How close to the water is it? Okay, so that's a difficult one to answer, and I've actually read into that. So essentially, like, I want to say that the Columbia River high tide mark plus like 10 feet or something is public access in Washington state. So they owned, however many. I actually need to see. I actually came up with a crummy little graphic to just try to measure. Y'all are gonna laugh, but I got to do these things. I tried to calculate how far off the water line the money was actually found. And so I made a little graphic with a guy. I made a Photoshop. I took a guy who I just said he was 6 feet tall. And then I laid him down across the beach in this photograph here. And this is what I came up with. Yeah. So basically you can see like right there kind of where there's people kind of bending over. That's basically where the money was found, right in front of that tree there. And so if this guy is 6 feet tall, then so 30-ish feet essentially. So, I mean, it was solely on the Fazio's land. So, well, I mean, some mystery bag says, I don't buy the suicidal Cooper. Why ask for all the notes back? Well, I mean, you still want to live. Why ask for money? I mean, again, or maybe he had family and didn't want shame to come to his family. That sort of stuff, right? So the same reason why you might blow yourself up. Okay, Abraham, that is where the money was buried. I mean, clearly that's where it was. We've seen photographs of I have a literal photograph of the hole that the FBI took before they started digging. We know where, I mean, right there, like, this is the hole. Right there, right from that tree. This is, I mean, this is taken before they started digging. So yes, we know where the money was. Where did Brian Ingram find the stick that he used to sift through the dirt? I don't know any stick. Brian just said he used his hands. Yeah, Terry, good question. Why didn't the Fazios keep the money? It was on their property. I've tried to research that. There's some, I mean, it was stolen property for one thing. I don't think they wanted to just deal with that. Okay. What evidence do you have of Stevie taking uppers? I was talking about cocaine. Yeah, he used his hands, not a stick. Let's see. Okay, my thought. Okay, good. Okay, sorry, Big Woody. I'm just getting back to you. My thoughts on Jason Langseth's affiliation with the Toronto Dominion Bank, and that he had monthly or stipend checks coming from a bank. Yeah, I'm gonna do. I'll be doing a Langseth video at some point. A profile. I mean, if you guys like that Roman profile, I'm gonna do one for Langseth and some of those other guys. Langseth is interesting. Langseth's interesting. I just, if he hadn't, I mean, we have Langseth being eliminated by one of the stewardesses in 72 by photos. So it's hard to argue against that. But man, I mean, he's the only guy I know of who lied to the FBI about what he was doing on the day of the hijacking. Not good. He was an industrial chemical salesman. He was known to be practicing night jumping, in the months before the hijacking. He was getting monthly checks from a bank in Canada. Creepy. What else? I mean, Langseth's something else. I know it's not the current thinking, but Tina Bar money washing up still seems very possible. Isn't it the most simple and obvious answer? It had been wet, had rounded edges. It was near a river. Yeah, I know, Mystery Bag. I mean, I want to think that. I mean, that makes the most sense. I mean, clearly, it's money. It's flotsam. I mean, go to any river and walk along the river. There's just shit washed up on shore. It's flotsam. But we've had hydrologists look at it, and they say that that's not possible. Like that money would float up onto that high onto shore, absent like a flood, and then bury itself that deeply, which is, it seems to have been deep enough to where it eroded up, and that's how it was found, was erosion. So, don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'd love. Yeah, yes, exactly. Nikki's right. We'd love for the evidence to support it being washed up, but there just isn't any evidence for that. And it makes the most sense logically, but all the scientific evidence is against it. So, I mean, but yeah. Well, how Elizabeth says, how would it have all broken up if it was just buried? How would it have all broken up if it was just buried? What do you mean broken up? You mean like torn up? What, rotted? You mean like it? You mean like the money? You're talking about like why the money looked like it did? Is that what you're asking? Yeah. Okay. Pieces. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's show everybody this. So here's some of Cooper's money. This is probably our best shot of Cooper's money that I've seen. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's just rot. I mean, I don't know why the edges would rot away. I actually don't know why it would look like that. But all those fragments, though, the fragments, we hear about these shards and things a lot. The fragments, the shards, were just, you can see some of them here in this photograph. They're on the top right. Those are some of the shards, and there's even smaller ones too. I mean, there's even like Tom Kay's got a picture on his website of like little bitty grains of dollar. And the way they got those is they shifted the sand. They rolled all the sand through these sifters. You can see them doing that there. And so that's how they come up with all these little fragments and things. I mean, they're using backhoes. And I mean, this would have been like day 3 or so. They quit giving a crap about being gentle at that point. You can see one of the Fazio brothers on top of that tractor there. Okay. Or the cash was damaged by being washed around the riverbed. Yeah, Mary. I mean, that's, well, but I mean, the problem is we have fragments. I mean, we have the fragments from, so we have the pieces that came off, which tells us that the pieces came off where it was buried, right? So you'd expect pieces to come off in the water, not be buried, not be washed up with it, right? All right, thank you for the super chat, John. What's the biggest myth in the Cooper case? That he died. I mean, yeah, I think that he died. I mean, wouldn't you guys agree that that's the biggest myth? That he died? And he didn't die. I mean, he could have died, but again, as I've said, I mean, you're looking at like 99 point whatever the odds are of a dangerous skydiving. Again, Mystery Bag says the biggest myth is the Yukon. I guess they're kind of one and the same, really, aren't they? I guess it's mainly just the myth of the danger of the jump, I guess. All in one big, I guess that's what it should be. I think that's the central nexus myth, is that he died because he jumped in the wilderness in a rainstorm. And so all those things go together, and people think he died because he jumped in the wilderness and he jumped in a rainstorm, which is not, neither of those are true. He jumped over a county with lots of people. It was light rain showers. He's not freezing to death. So I think it's all kind of the same. People are saying that he was a nice guy. It's a myth. Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely not a nice guy. Definitely not a nice guy. I mean, the guy was as I said in one of my videos, let's look at what he did, right? Kidnapping, extortion, armed robbery, larceny, aircraft piracy. That's not a Wednesday for most people. But apparently it was for him. Well, liking this video is fine, but you got to like no one ever sees my lives unless you're a subscriber. So you got to like the little videos I make. You have to like those people. Like I cannot say it enough. But yeah, second that it's McCoy. You're saying the second myth is that McCoy. I mean, that's only become a myth. That's just recent, honestly. I mean, McCoy's always kind of been around thanks to the Unsolved Mysteries episode where they play the creepy music and say, blah, 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 blah. That, 5 months later, ding, 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 ding. That whole creepy music and stuff. Yeah, no. Wilderness may be the key myth, says Mary. Yeah, I think it's just, again, the central nexus, Is there any case where a hijacker died from a free fall? Actually, yes, but it wasn't he had a homemade parachute. I believe it was in the Philippines, and I guess he was a copycat. I don't know when that was. Maybe I don't know. I don't know if he was a straight Cooper copycat, but there was a hijacker who jumped out of a plane with a homemade parachute and perished, obviously. So there's that. I mean, there were several copycats in other countries. I've actually spent some time trying to research that because, maybe it was something in Soviet Union or something, or, whatever. I've really tried to research that, and I haven't found anybody doing that other than there was a guy in the Philippines. Mary Johns knows about this. She says, yes, he made a parachute from curtains. I think it was the Philippines, right? Somewhere in Southeast Asia, or like somewhere in the Pacific Islands. Maybe Thailand or Malaysia or something maybe Malaysia. But then there was a guy in Colombia, or no. Oh, forget El Salvador, somewhere in Central America. A guy tried to do it, and I think they killed him. And then there was one in Brazil, and he killed himself when they surrounded his plane. So, I mean, there were some copycats out there. Jay, we're talking about hijackers. We're talking about like Cooper hijackers. There's lots of hijackers. We're talking about the Cooper ones. Okay. Yes, Mystery Bag's right. Getting past the Yukon myth has totally changed my view on the case after 40 plus years. Yeah, that's just it, isn't it, Mystery Bag? Like once people get past that, it's like their eyes open. They're open to a whole new world, and they go, "Oh crap! Wait, he jumped. What? Actually, he jumped 10 to 15 miles from a freaking major metropolitan area, even in 1971. I mean, they had a basketball team. Even I don't know. People out there. Steve Hart, you're in the chat. Were the Trailblazers around back then? 71? I don't know. Were the Supersonics? Well, the Supersonics would have been named after the jet that was never made, right? Okay. The nexus of the vortexes is funny. Yes, James St. James. Homemade parachute are two words that shouldn't be next to each other. Yeah, it's oxymoron, isn't it? Those are, did he never jump and hit on the plane? Yeah, those are the silly newbie myths, which even like, you're kind of a dumb newbie, even if you think that. It's just not very logical. Hit on the plane, but whatever. But yeah, I just think that him dying is one. But again, you've got also the parachute, right? He chose the wrong parachute. Well, not really. he really probably chose the better parachute. The idea that he jumped with a dummy chute, we know that's not true. He couldn't have, which that doesn't make, that doesn't say anything about it. Because, I mean, these things used to, like, in the vortex, these things used to really, like, make us think, right? Because we used to think up until the files came out, we used to think it was settled science in the vortex, as it were, that Cooper had a civilian skydiving parachute backpack and a military backpack, and that he chose the military one. So that made us go, oh, well, he must have been familiar with the military type, blah, 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 blah. Well, but now we know he basically had two of the same thing, right? So yeah, that informed us incorrectly for a long time about it. There's that. And Larry, as much as I love Larry perpetrated that myth, and also the idea of the loafers. Yes, the loafers. That's a dumb myth, right? I mean, he had ankle high, like, boots, essentially. It sounds like. Maybe he MacGyvered the dummy chute on. I don't think so, because I think that, I mean, he would have had to have done that. He'd have had to have done that probably before Tina saw him. I mean, he looked ready to jump, according to Tina. I mean, he looked like he was set by the time that he sent her to the front, so he'd have had to have done that at some point in between when he's messing with the door and stuff. I don't know when he's had time to do all that, right? Yeah, I mean, that's another thing too we've learned. Yeah, he knew enough to ask where the D-rings were, which is more than I would have known prior to your channel. I mean, according to Tusaw, like, I really need to talk to Tina. I really need to holler at her about that. I mean, again, I take Tusaw at his word, because, like, he wrote this book in the early 80s. And if he had put words in somebody's mouth, they could have called him out on it and said, hey, this guy's full of crap. So I just feel like he's pretty accurate with his narrative. And he's been proven to be accurate with his narrative. There's a few things in his narrative that I think he got. It's almost like he missed asking whenever he talked to Flo, he for whatever reason, like, maybe missed. I've done this in interviews. I'm like, oh shit, it's my one chance to talk to him and I forgot. Like, he may have missed things and he filled in the gaps. You can almost see where he fills in the gaps using newspaper articles of the narrative. For example, the Cooper having bourbon and water, and 2 bourbon and waters, I guess. That comes directly from the 1981 AP article that mistakenly said that. And I feel like Tusaw got that from that article. I guess maybe he forgot to ask Flo about the drink. Maybe, I don't know. Tusaw wrote Cooper as cussing, though. I don't trust his narrative fully. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Mary, that's the thing about Tina, right? Cooper was causing enough of a fuss to where the pilots were hearing him through the phone and were nervous that he was going to blow the plane up. I mean, Radachek says that many times. You listen to him, he says, I mean, they were afraid he was going to blow the plane up. And Tina, there is an interview out there with Tina that is in my book, but Tina has said that, and I know this is in Tusaw also, but it's also from Tina, that he did threaten to blow the plane up. I mean, he was like, I will kill us all when the refueling was going on. He's like, they are messing with me. They're stalling. They think I'm stalling. I'll show them. I'm going to, so I feel like Tina is a sweetheart. Tina's a sweetheart. I feel like she's the type. I mean, the woman became a nun and then became a social worker for the rest of her life, right? So she's empathetic. I feel like Tina didn't want to be, because he could have treated her worse, right? So I feel like she didn't want to throw him under the bus. I mean, just because she says he was a nice, I mean, we don't have anywhere where it says he didn't use foul language. Okay. So it's not, it's implied that he wasn't using foul language because of what Tina says. He was rather nice. Although he was impatient a few times, he was never cruel or nasty or impolite to me in any way. That doesn't exclude him cussing, right? I mean, just because he's cussing doesn't mean he's impolite. So, I mean, the FBI believed he didn't cuss, but I mean, again, I mean, I don't know, Mary. I just feel like, I mean, Tucson doesn't have him like dropping F-bombs and things. I think he just has him saying like, damn, or something, right? Like, damn it, they're stalling, which, I mean, okay, that's fine. And hell, the pilots themselves are cussing up there, according to the radio transcripts and things. So Al Lee's saying, let's get this son of a bitch to get out of here. You know, I mean, they're cussing. So yeah, I think it's an FBI assumption they never swore. I mean, because why would they? I mean, that's not something you ask. I mean, why would they say, you know, did he ever cuss? Like, write that down. Right? I don't think that. Why would that matter? Right? Yeah, he didn't have a dirty mouth. Thank you, Nikki. That's the thing. I mean, he wasn't potty mouth. That wasn't something that came up. But I mean, a guy cussing, men cuss. Jay says men cuss, and Cooper was stressed out about the refueling. He was worried. He waved goodbye to her. Yes, he did. So, you know, again, I think Tina was trying not to throw the guy under the bus who was decent enough to her, which makes sense. Are there any audio recordings? Yeah. Well, yeah. That's a whole nother story. Yes, yep. There's audio out there. There's audio. And I mean, you can hear a few clips of it, you know, whenever I start my videos, the whole we have one remaining with the individual. He is not going to let her off the airplane at this time. That's the original audio. We have a couple clips, thanks to Nikki. And yeah, but there is a full audio recording of the hijacking, at least from what the air traffic control picked up out there. And one person has it, and they are being extremely difficult about it. And it is a whole thing. Ralph said Cooper used foul language. Yeah, Ralph said a lot of crap. Ralph, okay. So remember though, Ralph's, all of that Ralph said was him remembering his book. Okay. I've got that. I'll show you. So, I think I've got that. Let me try to find this for you guys. Here we go. Yep. So in Norjack, in his book, Ralph Himmelsbach is telling the story about how a woman contacted him talking about, it almost sounds like LD Cooper in a way, honestly. It's not. It's Marvin or Melvin Cooper. There's a lot of Coopers. There's Melvin Cooper, Marvin Cooper, Marvin John Cooper. A bunch of Coopers were investigated, but one of the Coopers. And he says that this woman called him and said all these things about, like this quote here. So this is from Norjack. I'll read it for everybody who's listening. One of those boys, the woman said, later went into military service, and after his discharge went through several marriages. She described him as the kind of man who took advantage of women, faithless. He would live off women, use them. His language was coarse, and he was a heavy smoker whose fingers were stained from the curling vapors. He had slender facial features, brown hair, a dark complexion, nearly black, piercing eyes. So this is Himmelsbach talking about a suspect, okay? So years and years later, we have Himmelsbach in every interview he gives, talks about his language is terrible. He had cigarette stains on his fingers. He had piercing eyes. So no, Himmelsbach is conflating Cooper with what he wrote about this other guy years earlier. Because there's nothing at all about piercing eyes, fingers being stained, language being coarse, things like that. I mean, there is one document from 1984, I think, where they mentioned cigarette stained fingers. And that is really, that doesn't appear anywhere else in 50,000 files. So I think that's a error of some sort, because the guy that they're comparing Cooper to also has cigarette stained fingers. And I think that's a conflation of some sort, because it's just not, that would be pertinent information, wouldn't it? To know that if Cooper had cigarette stains on his fingers, I mean, that would have been big to let everybody know about that in 1971. So no, I don't believe that. Do you think Ralph was maybe in some way strategically trying to annoy the hijacker into contacting the FBI to defend his honor, like how they did with Zodiac? I don't think so. I think Ralph is pretty self-explanatory. Ralph will come out and say in interviews that I'm trying, he said a few times, and maybe it's only in his book, but he says, I always, people joke about Cooper and everything. Or he was saying people always joke with me about me saying Cooper was a dirty, rotten crook or a scoundrel or a bastard and all this other stuff. But he says the reason he says all that stuff is because he doesn't like the Robin Hood idea. Like it bugged him that a douchebag like Cooper was being lionized as a Robin Hood. I mean, he did Robin Hood, you know, like, so I think he was just trying to like even the, he was trying to like kind of what I'm doing. I mean, in a way I'm doing that with my channel. I'm trying to like reel it back in and say, look, this guy was a real person who woke up one morning, climbed out of bed and committed aircraft piracy, kidnapping, extortion, armed robbery, larceny. I mean, like, that's not a regular Wednesday for any of us. I would hope not. So that's what I think. Do I have, it'd be funny if I had that clip. If I have that clip for you guys of my little trope that I did. Where is it? Sorry, folks. Bear with me. I'm trying to like see if I could upload my bit from my video about. In one of my videos, I had a great little clip about when Ralph was giving everybody, or I had a montage of Ralph Himmelsbach's greatest hits, but I don't have it. I will. Okay. Fire Pixie, first time here. Hello. There's Drew Daniel. Hey, Drew, tax season's over. Drew, you're alive. You emerged. You clawed from your grave. Now that tax season's over, our accountant. Yeah, older cigs did stain. Yep. And that's a fact. I mean, absolutely, older cigarettes did. Absolutely. The cigarettes would stain your fingers. Tobacco stains. Yep. That is 100% fact. I think maybe the paper, maybe the non-filters. I mean, that's probably what it is you hold it by the filter. Maybe most people probably hold it by the filter these days. So, although Cooper smoked filtered cigarettes too, so let's not forget that. Ralph. That's all Dan Greider's been good for is the Ralph. I need to build a soundboard on here, don't I? I need to have like him. I need to have an audio of like a soundboard of Ralph, and I need to have Himmelsbach saying "Dirty Rotten Crook." Where's Dan Greider drinking Vegas? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. But Dan's back at it though. Like I said, he's back snookering another journalist. I mean, you saw that guy posting in front of McCoy's grave, holding the real McCoy. holding a fiction book, essentially. So, what was I going to talk about? Oh yeah. How about that Roman, though? I tell you what, do y'all agree with me that Roman has the best Dan Cooper connection? Like, not even like, I mean, I don't know why I'm asking you guys this, because it's true. I don't even need to ask it. Because I mean, how could you literally, if you tried, could you invent a more plausible connection to the Dan Cooper comic than Jim Roman? Other than being Arthur Weinberg's like half brother or something, right? Could you invent a better Dan Cooper connection than Jim Roman? I mean, his dad's Belgian. His people are from Belgium, which is where the comic comes from. He speaks fluent French. He spoke French up until he was 18 years old. Okay. He is a test pilot like Dan Cooper and an astronaut like Dan Cooper. Yeah, Roman didn't need the money. I agree. Roman, his motive makes no sense. But if Roman was like something other than, I don't know. I mean, again, the guy was nuts. Clearly, something was wrong with him. To have blasting caps and plastic explosives and document forging equipment and all kinds of crap. Hall's face and Roman's accent is how I imagine Cooper. Roman's got a great voice. I think I'm going to upload that video, by the way, the entire interview. It's really interesting. The interview, it's long. It's like 20 minutes long. It's this guy talking to Roman at the Edwards Air Force Base Science Center. And Roman's saying some interesting things about fighter pilots and stuff. Talking about how like fighter pilots aren't afraid during actual combat. Their heart rate only rises when they like do landing and take off from carriers. Like that's about it. Like and he was talking about how like some of the NASA guys, they're such good athletes. Like this is why I love the space program. I love like early NASA, like because Roman was mainly on Gemini, not Gemini. I always called it the Gemini program, right? Mercury, Gemini, Apollo. Roman was mainly involved in Gemini program, and he was talking about how those guys, I mean, all those guys like Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, I mean, all these astronauts were so cool because they were like the perfect men in a way, like was what you think of a man, right? Because they were super smart. Because all of them, you had to have, as my understanding, you had to have at least a master's degree to be a Apollo, Mercury, Gemini astronaut. You had to have at least a master's degree in some sort of like aerospace sort of field. Okay. That's why Chuck Yeager, right? That's like, you would think Chuck Yeager would be the ultimate astronaut. Like, why wasn't Chuck Yeager the first man in space? Well, because Chuck Yeager, I don't think he even had a college degree. Maybe he did, but he didn't have a master's. So he wasn't educated enough to be an astronaut. So you have these guys who are extremely educated. They're also jocks. So they're really athletic guys. So they're very good athletes. So they had to be to do all this stuff. And they're also like brave as shit. I mean, these guys were fighter pilots and test pilots. I mean, look at Buzz Aldrin. Ted Williams, the baseball player, was Buzz Aldrin's wingman. Could you get any cooler than that? Buzz Aldrin and Ted Williams. But yeah, but Buzz Aldrin, I think, flew like 86 missions in the Korean War. I mean, these guys were bad to the bone. Yes, actually, Carrying the Fire. You're mentioning Michael Collins' book. Yes, I have read Michael Collins' book. And also, I just found out the other day that in that book, and I had read through his name, in that book, he talks about Jim Roman. In that book, he says that Roman, Michael Collins says that Roman had the highest altitude of any of the top pilots there. That Jim like went over 90,000 feet in like the F-111 or something like that, which is like ridiculous. So he had the highest altitude was Jim Roman. So I was like, oh shit. How about that? So I went to the index, like, oh, does he mention Roman in here? Yeah, he does. But no, you have these astronauts, the early astronauts were brave athletes who were brilliant. So like they're fascinating guys. But anyway, Roman said that when they were monitoring astronauts on missions, sometimes he says this in the video, sometimes their heart rates were in the 40s. Think about that. You're like a rocket, you're in space or whatever, and your heart rate is in the 40s. Just nuts. How cool though and calm those guys were for the most part. I mean, it's interesting to go listen to. I've done. If you go listen to, it's really interesting. If you go to YouTube or whatever after I'm done, if you're interested, you can type in like Apollo 13. Like you can actually hear like the actual audio recording of Houston, we have a problem and all that. Like, I mean, these guys are like terrified. I mean, because they're venting oxygen into space. Not good. And they're as calm as they can be. Except one time, I think Lovell does get mad at Swaggart. He raises his voice. He's like, I know what the damn gimbal is or something. They're a little touchy, but they're still pretty calm. Let's see. Somebody's saying lemon. Did Lemon say something? Wait. Where did that question go there? Drew, what are you responding to? Okay, never mind. Are there skydiving schools, logs, rosters in the FBI files, Ted Mayfield's or Elsinore's? Yeah, they're all redacted. For the most of them are redacted. Yeah, they actually, okay, so here, I'll read through. Where did I see? Where is Elsinore? So yeah, Lehman, I'll read this to you. This is from my book here. Okay, yeah. So they got all the jump cards at Elsinore for like this time period. It says, desperate for any leads about the mystery man, 12,000 registration cards at Elsinore were reviewed by agents Edward Romanoff and James Pond out of the LA office. They were specifically looking for the cards of men who had jumped at Elsinore since 1969, who were between 35 and 55 years of age, 150 to 190, and 5'8" to 6'1". Searching within those parameters, the agents found 433 cards that matched that criteria. It says Cameron helped narrow that number down even further when he remembered that his interaction with the stranger definitely occurred in mid or late August of 71. This allowed the agents to focus on the flight records of jumps made during that specific time frame. These flight records contain the last names of the jumpers on each flight, the altitude and the altitude what they jumped. A review of these files revealed the names of 31 individuals who were also on that list of 433. 16 of these 31 were eliminated after Cameron and the Elsinore staff stated that they personally knew the men, and none of them resembled the composite sketch. The remaining 15 individuals were all singled out for a detailed investigation, which included in-person interviews and also secondary interviews with their known associates. These men came from a variety of backgrounds and occupations, indicating the broad appeal and popularity that skydiving was enjoying in that era. Among those interviewed were a drugstore clerk, a caterer, an FAA crash investigator, a construction worker, a hotel manager from Wyoming, and even a Bureau of Narcotics officer. All 15 were eliminated for a variety of reasons, with most being able to provide solid alibis from their workplaces. So yeah, the Elsinore, they got those cards big time. Okay. Somebody's saying, okay, Michael Strickland, maybe? I really like the lesser known suspects, Roman, Johnston, Langseth, Lyons. They're all plausible and can't really rule them out. Yeah, I'm going to do more videos on those guys for sure. And he says he's going to see Howard Hunt. Yeah, I'm actually going to ask, Nate LaFoque is his real name is, I don't know if he wants his real name out there, but the guy who wrote the book on Howard Hunt being D.B. Cooper, Nate LaFoque is his nom de plume. I was going to ask him to come on the show actually soon. Why not? You never know. I'd like to have him. And we are getting a new suspect soon, by the way, a good suspect. Maybe the best match to the Bing sketch ever, perhaps coming. Gonna be dropping in maybe a week or so, and then I'm gonna have the guy who investigated him. He's gonna drop it on the Facebook group, I believe, first a little bit, and then he's gonna do the name reveal and everything on my show, I believe. So that's coming soon. Another plausible suspect for sure. Okay. Thoughts on Ted Braden? Well, I've got videos on Ted. Ted's a perfect suspect, except he's short and his nose is a little big for my taste, for my opinion of Cooper. But yeah, Ted's small. Otherwise he'd be, I mean, if Ted was Elizabeth, the book is coming out whenever the publisher gets around to publishing it. Okay. Braden, if Ted was 5'11", it would be, I would be so in on Ted Braden, it would make your head spin. It'd make my own head spin too. But if he was older, get the Ray-Ban Ballaramas out. No, well, they got him right here. It's got these things on eBay. But yeah, there they are. But yeah, I'm not going to dress up anymore. It's a little campy. A little campy to dress up as Cooper, wasn't it? A little excessive. I'm not going to do that anymore. But, okay. Yeah, Braden is a good way to say it, Jay. Braden is like McCoy. He's got his own story, but he's not Cooper. Yeah. I mean, probably. Yep. It's like the 20% thing you mentioned in the Roman video, that whoever we find is probably going to be 20% off. Yeah. I agree. I mean, because I think about, I'd never even thought about angles really too much until the Roman thing, talking about his hairline, right? Like if you only saw him from that side, you would think that Jim Roman's hair part was on his left side, right? Can I explain why Skip is not Cooper? Well, I don't know. He's not Cooper. He's plausible. But the knocks on Skip, possibly too good looking, maybe a handsome guy. Nose might be a little big, but I mean, there's nothing that I can, there's no smoking gun or silver, not smoking gun. There's no silver bullet. We call them silver bullets. Like there's a lot of silver bullets, like Vince Peterson's bright blue eyes were always a silver bullet, or, whatever. But I mean, there's no silver bullets that I know of, on that. Yeah. Tinsley says Packer has the goods on Hunt. E. Howard Hunt. He was a bit busy breaking into Ellsberg's psychiatrist's office and ramping up for the Watergate break-in. It wasn't Hunt. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, he probably was there, but I'd like to hear from the guy. Don't you think Ted's skydiving experience doesn't jive with Cooper? He didn't bring his own, didn't have more specific requests, and picked the worst chute. No, because Ted was not a recreational skydiver. Ted did not jump with like paracommanders and things like that. Like, I mean, when he jumped with the Army, even in demonstrations, he jumped with these. It's my understanding. So, because it was trying to show off what the Army had, right? So I think all Ted knew was parachutes. But yeah, I agree. And in some ways, it seems like he'd be more specific about asking for I don't know. But as I mentioned, not specifying D-rings is not a big killer because you just assume you ask for front shoots that D-rings are going to be there. But picking the wrong shoot, I disagree. I mean, he picked the better pack. I mean, an MB6 is a lot better than whatever that World War II P2 Pioneer is in the museum. That lumpy looking thing, I wouldn't trust that. I mean, MB6s are pretty good. I mean, it was a smaller canopy, but that's not going to kill you or anything. Do we know how Skip looked in 71? We don't. We don't. Braden would have said he was Cooper later in life. I bet he had an ego and had to keep that, hard to keep that secret. He was a drunk later in life. I know that, sadly. He was in prison. He was in prison for a while, too. If this case is still going in like 15 years, I hope someone uses some advanced technology to recreate the scene perfectly. Well, I'm trying. I know I need it in 3D though. Yeah, I try. I mean, I'm trying to get where I can. You know, yes, I mean some of my animations I make, I'm trying to get there. All right. I mean, see, look at Cooper. He's angry here. He's like, damn it. This is when he's yelling about the refueling. See if I can load this. And there we go. See, he's about to tie the money bag to his body, and he's yelling at poor Tina. He's got the shroud lines in his hands. So yeah, I've tried to recreate it, and you know that is the actual photograph from the plane, right? That was taken by the FBI. So we do have. I have used that photograph for it. Koopa Loop AI. Drunk people talk. Yeah. Maybe I could make a mini movie and play Cooper. Well, I am making a mini movie. It just third part hadn't come out yet. Soon though. Yeah. It's a good little animation there. Poor Tina. Doesn't have the lips. Who doesn't have the lips? I mean, Skip. I mean, Skip has an interesting lower lip, but yeah, it's not as huge as like the other ones, you know. Not as huge as the other ones. It says E. Howard Hunt made some deathbed confessions. If he was Cooper, he would have confessed to that too. Probably. Did Tina wave back to Cooper? Is this in the 302s? No, I think she just closed the curtain and ran to the front. She was happy to be gone from him. Yep. Isn't the worst shoot part of the whole myth that he died? Yeah, well, sort of, Elizabeth. I mean, we know now that so if people say he picked the wrong shoot now who are educated on the case like Drew is, what he's referring to is that seems like that Cooper looked at the packing cards, the little cards, right? And that he had a choice. Do I want to jump with a 24-foot canopy or a 26-foot canopy? And that's a big difference, actually. It doesn't sound big, but it is. And he chose the 24-foot, which is just as safe as a 26-foot, but the 24 is going to drop you lower, and you're going to hit the ground a little harder. So that's when they say, if they're saying, people who know the case say he picked the wrong shoot, they're saying that the canopy he chose, or the pack he chose, was the smaller one, but he chose the newer one. He had a choice between, I think it was 50, sorry, 50, I want to say 59 and 63, something like that. My brain's killing me, but he chose the newer parachute. I'll say that. So I wouldn't say he chose the wrong chute. The smaller canopy. I mean, but Drew, but they used 24-foot canopies though. Drew, I remember that. Like that was the pack that those guys in SOG used 24-foot canopies. That's what they were used to because it gets you to the ground quicker. So that's what they jumped with. So I mean, that would have actually works for Ted. People wave goodbye. It's normal. Cooper knew that Tina was freaked out. She wouldn't make eye contact. Yeah, he knew. He knew that she was upset. Hell, he offered her a cigarette. That's why. He was trying to, you know. Well, no, I mean that is Elizabeth. So she's saying, "Oh, I thought that was because I thought it was like he didn't know what he was doing, and that's why he died." Kind of theory. But that's the old theory. The old theory is, oh, he had a civilian luxury skydiving backpack, and then he had a military backpack. Oh, and there was a dummy chute that he took with him. So like when they thought, oh, he took the crummy military chute and not the modern parachute, and he also jumped with this dummy chute. Well, that yeah, you would think that guy's an idiot if he did that. But now we know that backpacks were virtually the same, essentially, and also that he couldn't have even jumped with the dummy chute, even if he wanted to. So, strange she spent so much time with him, but can't do a better sketch of him. I mean, what do you mean? I mean, I think that sketch looks pretty good to me by comparison to other sketches, right? I mean, we compare. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. I showed this in my Facebook group. I mean, when we compare Roy Rose, I mean, like this is funny. It's like this shows the difference in an FBI sketch artist and a like local police sketch artist. It's like one of these things is not like the other. Let's look at them. I mean, just a couple of these. I think that's Dahmer. Is that that top left looks like Ross. The kind of looks like Planet X Filmworks a little bit, doesn't it? That's far left on the middle is that's what's his face, Dahmer. It's Dahmer's sketch. It looks like and that bottom middle, the guy under Bing looks just like Zuckerberg, doesn't it? Goodness. But yeah, Zuckerberg definitely below Cooper. Everybody's saying Zuckerberg. Yeah, I know. What are sketches like in 2025? They're better. They're better because they use identikits now. Yeah, the Son of Sam sketch was a good one for sure. But yeah, these people aren't very good. Mary Johns. I mean, Cooper was okay, but again, like, I mean, Mac was okay though. You know, like I mean, doesn't mean anything. You know, Mac has very clearly said on stage at CooperCon, I would have killed someone that day. Absolutely. I mean, he nearly pulled the trigger on a couple people. He was prepared to kill those people. And Mac's a nice guy. And there is no, like, you will never see anything ever in any article, interview, anything about Mac being a bad hijacker. Like, you know, the stewardesses didn't, the pilot said nothing bad about him. Passengers said nothing bad about him. Stewardess said nothing bad about him. Mac was decent to them, as decent as he could be doing that, you know? I mean, Mac was decent enough with his Tina that they are friends now, right? I mean, so it's you know, is that One sketch looks like George Harrison. I have to go back to that. But yeah, I mean, so Mac and Sharon, his Tina, are buddies now. He was texting her from CooperCon, sending her pictures and things. In fact, I wonder if I have that one picture of Mac. I wonder if I have that picture of Mac from CooperCon. That's really funny. I'll have to try to find that for you guys. Do I have that? Oh, I hope I do. Gosh, maybe I don't. Oh man, I'll have to find it. There's a great photo of Mac that he sent her, apparently. I have to go dig through and find it. There it is. Yeah, I'm gonna send this to myself. Mac told me to take a picture because he wanted to send it to her. It's on my phone. Because he said, "Oh, send this. I'm gonna send this to Sharon." Because they're bros now. I mean, imagine Cooper sending this to Sharon or sending this to Tina. Like, it's just wild thinking of that they can joke about this, but it's just I mean, how it is. But yeah, I mean, imagine Cooper sending this photograph to Tina Mucklow as a gag 50 years later. That's Mac with the stewardess doll, with the stewardess statue at the Museum of Flight. Just great. Yeah, somebody's asking about the Copycat sketch that was really good. That's gonna be Hahnemann's sketch. Pretty solid. Yeah, that right there. Close enough for sure. The same artist too. That's Roy Rose drew that. So not bad. Pretty solid. The nose is a little off, looks like. Lips are good though. Lips are really good. Head shape is good. Oh, that's a good Drew. That's a good yeah. Good. Drew says a sketch artist expert will be a great CooperCon panelist. 100%. That's great. Yeah. That's definitely good. All right. So for those who missed it, yeah, I was earlier, let's see, I was talking about Roman. Put some glasses on Roman, gave him some thicker hair as a joke. His ears are big, man, and no motive. But God almighty, that, I tell you, that lip is something else, isn't it? A man's lip is just crazy unique. Like I said, though, I mean, I don't see why anybody would hijack a plane so close to their home unless they were crazy. It's too easy to get spotted. But Roman's plausible. That's what I want, people. Plausible. Like, Dwayne Weber is not plausible to me. Like, I just want plausible. Like, for example, the wrinkles are good on the forehead, Ed. Remember? Wrinkles are what we want. We want wrinkles. Cooper had forehead wrinkles. I mean, very clearly had forehead wrinkles. Do you think Cooper would have made contact with Tina or the crew for fun and hung up on them? No, I don't think so. No. I don't. That would be cruel. I mean, Mac didn't mock them. Mac did mock the Mac did mock the president of American Airlines, right? Mac wrote him a letter from jail saying he wanted a refund for his return flight that he didn't take because he jumped out. Mary says that's the lip. That's the flesh under his lip. I mean, but that looks, but you would say that's a lower lip though. I mean, no, you would call that a lower lip, Mary, right? I mean, that might be the flesh under his lip, but you would think that, but that looks like a lip. I mean, he's got, look at that. I mean, that you would say that's a lip. At least I would. You know, is it possible that one of the hoax letters was real? I don't think so. Like I said, Cooper just doesn't seem like a guy who wants to be out there. You know, I mean, Cooper just doesn't want to seem. Just doesn't seem to be flashy like that. He took his notes back and was very studious. Yeah, I wouldn't know what else to call that. You call it a lip. I don't know what else to call it. But now Roman's plausible. I guess I'm saying. I mean, just to be honest, I mean, let's just say plausible suspects. I mean, here I'll give you some insight into my brain. I mean, in my opinion, make some enemies here, I guess. He left the tie as a mistake, though. That's just a brain fart, in my opinion. I mean, just bad. I'm sure he was like, "Oh shit," when as soon as he realized it. Do I think the shoddy information in documentaries and YouTube videos are net positive or net negative? They do spread misinformation, but they also get people more interested. Yeah, I know. I don't know. I guess it's a positive. I mean, because if they might search. I think it's a positive because they'll search DB Cooper if they're interested, and they'll come across me. I mean, plausible suspects. Skip, Langseth, Catalano, Don Burnworth, Braden, Roman, Roger Strom, Orville Lyons, Lee Seller, LD Cooper, and the guy is going to come out in a week or two. Is pretty good too. Oh yeah, crazy lady's uncle or whatever. He's plausible, yeah, for sure. He's plausible for sure. No doubt about it. So, not too many plausibles out there, but there's a few. Have you thought about the question asked a while back as to what you would ask Tina? Yeah, I feel like I would really want to know if the drag bag thing is real. If the drag bag thing is real, I think I would want to know that because that would tell me a lot. You don't think LD is plausible because of where Sisters Oregon is? Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. He was he was in the mental institute a month earlier in Portland, so I don't think. I mean, where you live is not where you live doesn't make you less or more plausible unless you live in Portland, and that's a problem, in my opinion. I would say, but I would say, what somebody's asking me something. The only credible stewardess was Alice. What are you talking about? What does that mean? Michael says it would have been hard to get there in that time span. I mean, assuming he went home. I mean, we don't know if he went. I mean, who's to say Cooper went home, right? And remember, oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying because of the Marla's story of the bloody guy. Yeah. Because that was on Thanksgiving Day, wasn't it? When Marla's story. Yeah. I mean, it was at some point the next day. I mean, you saying you can't get to Sisters, Oregon from Portland in 12 hours or something? Although, I mean, I'm being very, very generous to LD Cooper by including him on this list. He's lucky to be on my list. The scoundrel. You know? Well, that's fine then, Michael. I mean, 4 hours from Portland in snow. That's not a problem. I mean, we don't know when. What would the drag bag tell us? It would tell us about Cooper's background for sure. That is a paratrooper thing, big time. Like that is military. That is straight out of the military paratrooping playbook. Special Forces drag bag. Alice was probably the least terrorized of the three. Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, because her interaction is low. Yeah, Alice had one interaction with Cooper. Well, two. She tried to go back there and save him, or save Tina from Cooper, and Cooper told her to go back to her station. And then her other interaction was when she marched back there and asked if they could just leave. And Cooper said, sure, whatever you girls would like. That would be fine. So yeah, Alice definitely wasn't. Flo never came back. Flo came back once. Well, Flo came back a few times. There's Flo when she came back. Flo came back to keep the passengers from going back to Cooper as they were getting off the plane. That's when Robert Gregory got his good look at Flo. Robert Gregory got his look at Cooper. And Flo said, "Don't look at him." And Flo also brought the note back too. But okay, what was I saying? Sorry, folks, I got distracted there. Somebody's about editing suspects. Yeah, the Wikipedia. Don't forget Alice Collins is the Michael Collins of Norjack. Absolutely, that was my name for her. Can Tina claim compensation due to stress from the crime? No. Didn't one of the passengers have a camera? Not that I'm aware of. A passenger did try to take photos of Hahnemann during the hijacking. There are photos during hijackings from passengers on the plane. I wonder if I have that photograph. There's a photograph of Arthur Barkley, who was the guy who was the first extortion hijacker. And they had photos of him on the plane during the hijacking, like with his gun and stuff like that. A passenger was sneaking photographs of him. And I've got those somewhere. Damn it. I have so many files, people. Sorry. But anyway. But yeah, join Jen. That's not very nice to say about Elizabeth. That's ugly. Don't be sweet. Time to retire some of the suspects. Yeah, I agree. There's no reason for Rekha to even be anywhere mentioned at all. There's no reason for Kenny Christensen to be mentioned anymore, in my opinion. McCoy is dead in the water. I think Sheridan Peterson's dead in the water. William J. Smith is dead in the water. McCoy dead in the water. Ragstraw's dead in the water. Dwayne Weber's dead in the water. There's just nothing. And these guys can be ruled out for numerous reasons. Do we have confirmation of don't look at him coming from Flo? I thought it was from Tina for some reason. No, that would have been, we don't have confirmation. But it makes sense when you read Gregory's 302. And Gregory also mentioned it to the paper. He said that as he was leaving the plane, when he was getting up and looking at Cooper, a stewardess said, "Don't look at him." And, that could have only been Flo, really, because Flo was sent back. That was her, when Flo left the cockpit. So Flo brought Cooper's note back early in the hijacking. She came back there. And then Captain Scott sends her and says, go stand at like row 15 and keep anybody from coming back as they're leaving the plane. So, I mean, that would have been Flo, almost certainly. No, yeah, Drew's saying it's not possible that Gregory could have been the one. No, it was the cowboy asking for the paper or the magazine. Okay. But no, I think that would have been, yeah, DB Cooper saying, wouldn't it be lovely if someone clicked a family photo at Portland Airport and there's Cooper in the background? I know. That would be the dream, right? I mean, there's this one photograph of a guy of, where is it? There's the one photograph of the guy, and he is loitering by the gate there at PDX, which is such a cool photograph. I can find it. Oh my God. Why can I never find anything when I need it? People. God almighty. Oh well, but yeah, there's one, damn it. There is a great photograph of a guy, and he's hanging out by the gate at PDX, and he's got a briefcase. There it is. I mean, standing off, looking out the window. I mean, it's literally what long coat, briefcase, staring out the window, not mingling with passengers. That's literally what Cooper was described as doing in the terminal. And that guy's got dark hair, overcoat, briefcase. And that's the ramp they would have gone down too. That ramp, they would have gone down that ramp because they couldn't get on the jetway because construction. So they would have gone down a ramp and gone onto the plane. Okay. Somebody's asking, when was that picture taken? I don't know. In the late 60s, I think. Does the terminal at PDX still exist today? It sure does. Were there other perps? Were there other peps in the terminal interviewed? What do you mean? What? Did you misspell that, Terry? What do you mean? Rick Hamilton, good question. Easily answered, though. If he intended to jump relatively soon after the plane took off, why would he waste time to have the plane refueled? Because he wanted the plane to go as far as it could go before they realized that he had jumped, right? I mean, he didn't know that, and even they didn't know for sure. He assumed that they would have no idea when he actually jumped because he said, don't come back here, yada, yada, yada. Go to Reno. We're going to Reno to refuel. So he wanted the plane in the air as long as possible before they realized he was gone, right? Because it would stretch out the time, right? It would extend the length of time that before they started searching for him. Yeah, I don't know if the concourse is the same. I mean, probably not. I'm sure it's not the same as it was, but close enough. Okay. Still a cool picture, though, I would think. A trauma where Flo had a trauma response for sure. Flo, I mean, if she says that, Flo said, I don't believe her. I mean, Flo says she was opening her apartment door really fast in case Cooper was like hiding behind it or something. She looked behind her shower curtains at night, under her bed. Sad. She said she cranked her car slowly, afraid it was going to blow up. So yeah, Flo, there's no interact. I mean, Tina is so aloof sometimes. Like, I don't know how badly Tina was affected. I mean, like, there's that story of the creep calling her and saying, hey, This is in like 1972. Hey, what are you wearing? And she tells the FBI, I said pajamas. It's like, that's when you just hang up, Tina. Like, you don't answer the guy. You just hang up. She goes, pajama? I told him I was, she said, I told the guy I was wearing pajamas. And then the guy said, take it off. And that's when she hung up. It's like, don't wait. Just hang up when he says, what are you wearing? You know, like pajamas. So, okay. Isn't it a bit of speculation that he didn't know about the pressure increase? I mean, even the pilots didn't know it was okay to fly with stairs down. No, Skibone, good question, but no, the pressure increase was only because of the I never have the damn pictures up. So the pressure increase is only due to the stairs rebounding and hitting the top of the bottom of the fuselage. See the sled going away at the bottom there? It's a sled test. It's the same plane. The stairs go smashing up against the top, or the stairs go smashing up when that weight's released like a diving board. And that is what forced air down the length of the cabin. And nobody had ever jumped off the aft stairs of a 727 before. So now they had jumped out of 727s, but they didn't jump off the stairs. The stairs were removed and they had a ramp that they would slide down with a static line to pull their chutes out. So no, nobody knew about the pressure bump until it happened. I mean, even Cooper wouldn't have known that. And that's why people say, oh, he faked the pressure bump. Well, he wouldn't have known he needed to fake the pressure bump. How would he have known that? In fact, I mean, even Boeing and Northwest Airlines and the Air Force, they had to do a sled test to figure out that is what caused it. I mean, they had an idea that that's what it was, but they still had to do experiments to figure that out. So Cooper wouldn't have known that. Had anyone flown with aft stairs down? Yes. One time that we know of in 64 when they were testing the 727, they did do a test to see if it, just to make sure it could fly with the stairs down, that the stairs wouldn't rip off, whatever. So there was, yeah. Join Jen. Be nicer, okay? You're gonna get bounced. All right. Don't be doing that. Was there a pressure bump on the McCoy hijacking? There's a pressure bump on every hijacking. That's something Bob Edwards does not seem to understand. And I have emailed him and texted him. I don't understand. Yes. There were pressure bumps on the other ones. Do I have those? I feel like I have the pressure bumps. I had a whole thing. I guess I need to find the thing I sent to what's his face, to Edwards. No, that they absolutely there were pressure bumps. Maybe it's in the sled test, maybe. Where did I put? Yeah, I never have what I need, do I? No, I'll try to find that. Let me see. Here we go. Yeah, so this is what the McCoy pilots said about when they're from their perspective. Sounds just like what the 305 crew dealt with. It says Hearn advised he did not see the subject as a pilot. Hearn advised he did not see the subject again, but when in the Provo area, he felt a surge. At this time, they concluded the subject is gone. And then this is McCoy's Tina, Diane Surdam. Subsequent to Surdam picking up the second note, the crew felt a movement in the aircraft, which they believed to have been made by the hijacker. Surdam stated that their position at that time was in the Provo, Utah area. So there we go. Um, let's see. Yes, all copycats had bumps. Can you rank the copycat hijackings based on how good of a movie it'd make? Well, Max is easily number one. I mean, there's no question. That's not even like not even a question. That's not even questionable. It's Mac. Max number one. Probably I don't know. McCoy or Hahnemann's going to be two. Probably Heinemann's number two. He's more of a fruit cake than McCoy. He's a little more entertaining. McCoy was kind of a jerk. McCoy would be three. LaPointe's would be four. And then Hetty's is the most. Hetty's was quick. Hetty Leroy Jenkins onto the plane, bag over his head, fired a few shots, got money, jumped out within 5 minutes. Not much to it. LaPointe's, though, was funny because he was a Catholic kid and didn't like priests being on the plane. He said that there were priests who were giving him a stink eye. And so he ordered priests off the plane. So the only hostages he let off were priests. It's kind of funny. But LaPointe's, yeah. No, Max is I mean, Cooper's, we compare Cooper's to the copycats. Cooper's is the bottom. Cooper's is LaPointe. I mean, not much going on in Cooper's hijacking, really. You know, we just like Cooper because he's Cooper got away. That's why we like him. The plane wasn't that full of passengers. Not the Cooper plane. Not for sure. Are there exact coordinates for the jump? Nope. I mean, realistically, Cooper is, let me see. I mean, maybe I've got a graphic where I can show it, but I would say Cooper is jumping between the Lewis River and Orchards, Washington, probably. I mean, this might be the best one to look at. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so basically anywhere in this map above Orchards, I would say. So you go up to the center all the way down to Orchards, somewhere in between there. It's hard to know exactly where, but I think it's definitely before they reached Orchards, because if Cooper had jumped, because at Orchards they did this turn. You can see this. They did this dog leg here, and then they turned all the way around. They went around the airport. That's the airport down there at the bottom. That little purple like landing strips. It's the airport. So they flew around. V-23 actually goes over the airport, but they went around because they didn't want to. I don't know. They didn't want to have a bomb on a plane over an airport, I guess. But if Cooper had jumped while they were making all this maneuver after Orchards, I think they would have remembered that. So it was earlier. It was before Orchards and like after the Lewis River, really. Yes, Alice was the senior, Stu. Alice was 23. 23, Flo was 22, and Tina was 21. I mean, no, I'm wrong on that. Tina's 22, Flo's 23, and Tina's 24. Yes, Alice did a great job just serving both the whole cabin, keeping her. Alice did a great job. Cooper jumped at the right-hand turn, in my humble opinion. I mean, if you know V-23, then yes, V-23 does have this. I think this is my V-23 map. So this is V-23 is highlighted. You can see, and yeah, right there, you can see where it turns. I can't really zoom in, but that's Orchards right there. Right, that dog leg right, or dog leg to the left. So yeah, I mean that if Cooper knew V-20, the problem is Cooper didn't specify V-23. They didn't have to take V-23. So to think that his planning was contingent upon V-23, you just ask for it. Yeah, that whole area is full of houses. No way they wouldn't find him with a parachute if he had died. I agree. No, Cooper jumped in a populated enough area to where something would have been found. Imagine Cooper jumping out of the Concorde. Well, that's funny. Yeah, it would be so funny if Cooper literally landed onto Shoals Sport Parachute Center. Yeah, people, that's the funny thing about that. Is like, even Himmelsbach says that. Even Himmelsbach's trying to get rid of the wilderness idea. He's like, in the Nordjack, Himmelsbach says there was a skydiving center in the drop zone. So clearly, no skydiving centers in the wilderness, as they say. Any truth that he jumped where they had a home? Any truth we jumped where he had a homeless camp? Possibly someone jumped him and took the money and ran off. Yeah, the hobo theory is what that's called. I feel like there's like conflation now between like in like the tramps. Isn't that a JFK thing? I think Packer's not on here anymore, but isn't like the three tramps a JFK thing? So we've got like the tramps. Yeah, Cooper could have handled any vagrants. I agree with you, Black Wingy. I mean, the guy just jumped out of a plane. He's not letting anybody mess with him. And he probably had a pistol too, like I said. Almost certainly. Every copycat had a pistol. Yes, Howard Hunt is suspected as one of the tramps. Wouldn't be surprised if Skip was one too. Yeah, look, Skip, probably not Cooper, but definitely involved in JFK. I've actually started change. The Skip Hall stuff is really the first time I've really dived in a little bit to the JFK stuff. And I used to be a non-conspiracy guy on JFK, but man, there's way too much smoke there to think there's not something going on more than just Oswald, right? Who would be a dream guest? Well, obviously, Tina Mucklow. I mean, any of the principals, right? Radicek, Flo, Tina, Alice, Andy, for sure. Cooper was Mossad, explains the swarthiness. Why though? Why would he be Mossad? What do you need money for? I mean, I think Mossad had enough money. Don't think they were doing that. We're through the looking glass, people. I know. Okay, cool. Well, there we go. Back to back. 42 Lehman says the three tramps were revealed in the 90s. Arrest records found. Hunt was not one of them. Ed says, you're being rude. The tramps were all identified. None of the three were Hunt or Woody Harrelson's dad. That's right. Woody Harrelson's dad was a killer, wasn't he? Hunt wasn't one of the tramps. What about the pilot? Is he okay? Radicek is in poorer health than he was. I mean, he's getting older. I mean, he's in his late 80s. But yeah, Eric, I believe COVID year, Eric was going to have him at CooperCon. I actually haven't reached out to Radicek. I've sent him a copy of my book, but haven't heard back, sadly. Are any of the 1,000 or so suspects given a number still alive? I mean, I'm sure a few, at least. The small plane got a number. I mean, so Bob McClellan, who I'm trying to get to CooperCon, he was a suspect. I'm trying to get him and his wife to come to CooperCon this year to talk all about being a suspect, I guess. So yeah, I mean, we will have we're going to have a person who was investigated as a suspect at CooperCon, hopefully. Yeah, so many are name redacted. It's hard to find. We're going to find out. I sent a very, very strongly worded letter to the Seattle FBI office, completely bitching about Robert Gregory and George Lebissonier's name being redacted about a couple weeks ago. So we'll see in the next batch, in the next vault release in May. We'll see if they're still redacting Gregory and Lebissonier. Because yeah. I actually got Robert Gregory's age wrong, by the way, people. Robert Gregory is not the oldest guy on the plane. In fact, not even like that close. Robert Gregory, I believe I found out, was born in like 1913. So he's what? Vordal's age at 58. So Robert Gregory wasn't that old. Gregory was a confidential witness, so they might still redact. Well, we'll see about that. We'll see about that. I don't care if he's a confidential witness. He's dead. He was in the papers. Why would he be? I don't understand. I mean, the guy was in the papers talking all about it. So why would he be? Yeah, I don't know. We'll see about that. But yeah, we'll see if they are still redacting Lebesnier and Gregory after I got done with them. I said I sent them a strongly worded letter to the FBI about that. Black Wingy says, "Hey, it seems women are well represented in the chat tonight. Yay us! I was afraid it'd be odd woman out at CooperCon. No, there's plenty of women at CooperCon." Black Wingy, did you come? Black Wingy, did you come last year? You come this year? Plenty of. I mean, I would say, honestly, I mean, I don't think that CooperCon is not a sausage fest at all. I mean, I would. It's almost. I mean, it's probably 60, probably 55-45 men to women. I would think. Maybe 60-40. There's plenty of women at CooperCon. Like, I mean, you don't notice a difference. I'll say that. I've not noticed a difference. Have I found out how Joseph Johnston died? I don't. I have not found that out. I'd like to. But yeah, but no, yeah, Ed agrees. Yeah, I don't. It's half women. I mean, that doesn't look any different than. I mean, it's not like you're going, you know, I don't know, to a Shriners meeting or something, or you know, whatever. I don't, or a Masonic Lodge meeting of men. I mean, it's. But how many? Yeah, Nicole was great on the Vortex there, Erica. Nicole was wonderful. Her and Darren have great chemistry. They're really funny. You know, and I forgot it, but Darren always says, "Why are there so few women in the Vortex?" And maybe it was Packer had the good answer. I think Packer, and I forget what it was, but Packer had a really good response for that. But no, there's the Johnston video is awesome, by the way, Ryan. Thank you. Not hardly any single women at CooperCon. I don't know. Some enough. But how many women profiles are actually Grider Blevins alt accounts? I don't know. Grider's YouTubes are I can tell when he comments on my videos because it's nobody talks like Grider except Grider. Okay, what makes you say Cooper more likely than not had goggles in his mystery bag? Because the other ones did. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, look, whatever was in the bag, a bag that had depth. I mean, it was a bag that has about 4 inches tall and about as length of the briefcase almost. So, I mean, it had stuff in it. And whatever was in that bag was not used during the hijacking itself. Like nobody saw him miracle anything out of this bag. The only thing that Cooper miracled out of thin air were his cigarettes, his matches, and his pocket knife. So, I mean, whatever's in the bag was only used for his escape. And like I said, we can look at the copycats. They all had mystery bags too. And their mystery bags had pistols, goggles, gloves, rope. I mean, all kinds of different. Now, Cooper didn't have any rope in there, but like, because he would have used it, I would think. But I mean, it just makes sense that whatever was in the bag was used for his jump. Like, just, I mean, the guy is doing a skydive, right? So just, I mean, like I said, something was in there. Boots, maybe, change of clothes, whatever. Something was in the bag that Tina did not see him take out of the bag. So goggles, gloves, pistol, canteen, compass, just random things. I mean, you know, but who knows? Maybe it was something else. Maybe it was a piece of equipment, you know? Bag contents must have been a larger item. Yes, not necessarily. I can fit goggles in my pocket, but doesn't mean I want to sit with them in my pocket, right? You put them in a bag. Well, I mean, why wouldn't you have it in the bag? Like I said, I see. I know it's unpopular, but I love Blevins. Not that I agree with anything he says, but he's a character. He cracks me up watching his videos. Blevins is unique, like most people in the vortex. We do have an odd community, don't we? But no, Blevins is Robert's. He's him and Bruce are unique. I'll say that. Maybe I'm unique too. I don't know. But anyways, okay, we're approaching 3 hours now. So there you go. I've told you guys who my plausible suspects are. Let me see. Let me make sure. Go through again who that was. Let's see. I said Roman, Roger Strom, Braden, Skip, Langseth, Catalano, Burnworth, L.D. Cooper, Lee Seller, Orville Lyons, Richard Manini, and the new guy. Yeah, so 12 or so. So yeah, people I know names of, like I said. And so any suspects I used to find compelling, but I've changed my mind on. Yeah, Verdal, I guess. The tie particles could still obviously match Milton Verdal, like for sure. But losing the T-sub, losing the titanium antimony specifically, this what led to Verdal, is troubling because I don't see Milton, I don't see Milton doing this. And just the more I learn about the case, the more I learn about the case, the more I start to think about things like I just really get the spidey sense that Cooper knew aviation enough to talk the lingo. I don't know that Verdal wasn't in the Air Force or anything like that. So there's that. Do some polls on suspect plausibility. Yeah. Well, I'm going to do more videos like the Roman video. And I think I may upload the Roman interview when I'm done here, when I sign off here in a second. Because it's good. It's good to watch the whole thing. It's pretty interesting. And Roman's bragging about this like device that he came up with or NASA came up with. It's like a heart reader thing. He's like, look how small this is. Can you believe this? And it's like that, So Ian says, for a man that knew what he was doing so well, him not having goggles would be quite odd. Yeah, I know, mystery bag. You say that clothes and boots, most else get fit in his pockets, but why? If you're gonna be sitting in a plane, why? I can fit things in my. It's like when I'm flying, right? I could fit my pill bottles in my jacket, but I'd rather have them in my carry-on bag, right? He's a human being, right? He wants to be comfortable. So, and like I said, all the other skyjackers, he didn't want to look bulky too. Goggles can fit in your trench coat pocket, but it's bulky and you may not like Cooper, but he was smart. Smart enough, sure. He seemed smart. I don't know if he was a genius or anything. What do I think of the idea that Cooper bounced off the ground and back into a different plane with Flubber Cooper? He's encased in flubber as he bounced up to the Blue Origin plane with the women. Bounced that high. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think I saw a video one time that said how much saran wrap or how much bubble wrap would you have to be wrapped in to jump off the Empire State Building and live? Quite a lot. Quite a lot. Anyways, okay, we are off the rails, people. So I'm going to call it a night, and I'll let you guys go. And thank you for watching. And I think I'll make another suspect video in a couple weeks. Probably, I don't know, Langseth maybe, or Roger Strom or somebody. I don't know. Well, somebody lesser known, and we can do it. Anyway, all right, folks. Well, that's all I've got for the evening. So like and subscribe and all that YouTube-y stuff. And hello, BBG from Cornwall. Say hello to me. Talk to you guys again soon. Bye.